što moja nije. A ona igra, vrti se kao čigra, zadnje mi piće, prozore moja biće.
What is up, early heads? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Društvo se skupilo, vino nas ubilo, skočili svi na sto, počelo je ludilo. Svirači koji ja, pali na kolena, čašama vidim dno, počelo je ludilo. A ona igra, vrti se kao čigra, meni se pije zato što moja nije. A ona igra, vrti se kao čigra, zadnje mi piće, prozore moja biće. Ne vreme na polju, ide mi na volju, nebo se spustilo, počelo je ludilo.
Aj, 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 aj.
Ona je zgazila, sve ume pa i to, počelo je ludilo. A ona igra, vrti se kao čigra, meni se pije zato što moja nije. A ona igra, vrti se kao čigra, zadnje mi piće, prozore moja biće.
15 months. Thank you very much. Starting the stream the second the song ends. Welcome, early heads.
Sexy.
Is that Asmongold? Please do not offend my countrymen. Welcome, chat, to yet another episode with your boy Yugo here on beautiful YugopnikTwitch. I hope you are all doing well this fine Tuesday, the 13th of May, between 5:35 and 7:35. Wherever you are no longer there. Now you are with me, and that is a location of its own. Thank you by any means necessary. A year of Yugo live streams. How quickly the time flies. Hopefully many more years to come. From your mouth into God's ears, as we say in my part of the world. I hope you're all doing fantastic. We had a break over Monday. I spent Monday drinking a lot of wine. You're getting old when it's not just dive bars or clubs, but when you actually go to a wine bar and then you eat those little Italian meats and cheese that's cut up in blocks and, little crackers and shit. Proper white people behavior, okay? But with some really, really nice white wine, red wine and shit. I only did the white wine yesterday. It was genuinely nice. I got to see my dad. Hadn't seen my dad in a second, so that was cool. That was very cool. Hang out like with proper boomers, like very old dudes. Told me like stories from. One guy actually gave me a really good story when he was visiting Japan, coming from a very underdeveloped country in like the 70s, early 70s, and just how mind-blowing it was. He was like, dude, we walk up and there's these boxes and you can put coins in the boxes and stuff falls out. Stuff that we take for granted today, right? To them was absolutely unhinged. Those types of boomer stories. It was genuinely very wholesome and very nice. Always good to see Hugo at home among his own. Absolutely. Thank you, Beliar, for the first month. And welcome to the community. And thank you for the Hype Train chat. Before we start, I want to hear how you guys are doing. And I want to remind you that we are going fucking strong with the 10 gift subs actually equal 15 here because I might like money, but I hate ads more. And this mutual aid program is directed exactly at that, the eventual wholesale mass murder, genocide, and ethnic cleansing of every single ad on our beautiful, pure screens. So if you want to support this cleansing campaign, become a child soldier by subscribing or create child soldiers that will help us in this great cleansing of our platform by gifting subbies. And for every 10, I give another 5. Thank you, Mocha Noob, for the fucking 13 months, one of the absolute OGs. Now, with that being said, wait, Toasty's texting me. No, I'll make thumbnails on my own. Okay. Are you a terrorist? Depends on your definition. I do like to, explode on your mom's face from time to time. Now, welcome to yet another episode. Getting a tattoo right now. You're listening to me while you're getting a tattoo. That is, I should be, I don't know. I find that shit hella painful. Very, very painful and fucking terrifying. That's why I don't have a single one. But I deeply respect people that get tattoos. Depending on the reason why they get a tattoo, I guess, will define whether it's cringe or very cool. But, your name is Richard Nixon via a Ouija board, so you're definitely cool. What style are you doing? She's very gentle. I'm doing okay. If I'm writing you during stream, it's generally fine to ignore till after stream. It is until it isn't, Will you be meeting up with JT and Hakeem again? Of course. Our plan is every 6 to 7 months to meet up. But, JT has like a big family, so it gets a little bit complicated with my American boy. But with the rest, I think it should be fine. Guess the French kisses to everyone. The reason I'm not doing the Chinese TikTok immediately in the beginning is because we're starting the stream and it's kind of weird to do the hype train thing. That does not mean I do not strongly encourage you to do the hype train. By the way, I fixed this absolute garbage unit, the fucking Rode X caster. So now we should get some fun little sounds up in this bitch. Let's start out with some proper drama farming. A person that I never expected to join this era of conquest, GDF, known for history and military videos, is now shooting his shot at the world's greatest Zionist intellectual, Ethan Ozempic, the wife guy Klein. So I have to say that piqued my interest. It's two types of people that I've never thought would get in a fight. It's like, I don't know, watching your aunt and your mom fight. You don't want to stop it because it's fun. But obviously, the allegory is a bit weird because, you know, I fuck with GDF. What's up, Lesbian Hot Sauce? Everybody go give Lesbian Hot Sauce a fucking follow. Dear friend of the show that also streams on this beautiful degenerate platform of ours. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. But before, I guess I need to tell you what we'll do next. Today is a very random like content consumption day, but I think it's going to be a very nice stream. We're going to talk about occult Nazi beliefs that I believe I know quite a little bit about. We're going to talk about influencers and how they impact the way we see ourselves, etc., etc. We're going to watch a new Second Thought video, which is always fucking great. We're going to watch an Alice Capel video on deportation sensationalism, basically all the guys that make like a shit ton of content out of other people's suffering. And then I have a shit ton of fucking shit posts if we have time for later. So I think it's going to be a great time. Thank you very much for the hype train and the 6 gifties. And with that being said, let's get right into this bitch. Lesbian hot sauce is what I put on every meal. GDF's unnecessary a bomb on Japan is so good. Yeah. GDF's good. Like, I agree with 90% of his analysis and shit. He's, you know, very decent.
That's part of...
Okay, let's start. Ethan Klein versus GDF. Friend of the show versus guy that makes content to watch while you're taking a shit that now believes he gets to have political opinions. Am I elitist on this? Doesn't everybody get to have political opinions? Well, you know, I can tell you what to do when you have a cold. Okay, but I shouldn't consult you on what to do when you have a tumor, okay? I might not be a doctor, so, you know, I can have opinions about medicine, though, but I shouldn't go too deep into it because, you know, that's not where my background is at. That is not what, you know, I dedicated a lot of time and effort into studying. It's respectfully the same thing with politics as well. You know, no knowledge, no right to speak, with all due respect, right? So yeah, certain types of elitism absolutely are good and absolutely unnecessary. I'm completely tired of pretending that you know, intellectualism is somehow like de facto a bad thing, and that, you know, we all get to have our fucking hot takes. No, shove your hot take up your fucking ass. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Thank you very, very much, Gravity Guy, the Great. Thank you very much, and welcome to the Child Soldier community, my friend. And, you know, you don't have to be somebody with a fucking formal degree in political science like myself in order to talk about this shit. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that you should check your fucking power levels, motherfucker, okay? If you've dedicated your entire career to, you know, grinding coffee, you shouldn't be teaching me how to make whiskey, even though some of your experiences in grinding coffee will probably be useful in how to make whiskey. But if I've been making whiskey my entire life, you can't just walk in and start explaining how we should, you know, restart the whole fucking thing. So yeah, certain types of elitism are necessary. Certain types of justified hierarchies are justified hierarchies, etc., etc. Now, let's start.
That's part of what a lot of the civil unrest in Israel is about, is that a lot of people do care about the hostages and think that the government needs to stop the war and focus on getting the hostages back and not killing.
I'm not gonna like hot take, but I'm iffy on GDF, not because of his content, but because the analysis doesn't feel materialist to me. I think it sometimes invites actual anti-Semites to engage. Maybe I'm missing something, though. I don't know. Like, some of GDF's analysis might not be de facto materialist because it's a propaganda channel. Let's be fucking honest here. It's, an anti-West, anti-big country. Big country bad because imperialism, small country good. Very often. I don't know if there are certain underlining points there to be made. I don't know. I don't know.
Innocent civilians. So that
I wonder about that last part. I wonder if
comments can be fucked. Which comments?
If the Israeli body politic.
Oh, you think the Israelis want civilians to?
Am I missing something? Am I missing some context? The YouTube comment section. Well, people are not supposed to like it's not his responsibility to manage the comment section. Like, he doesn't own it, right?
Die. There were massive demonstrations in Israel, tens of thousands of people in a country that's relatively small. So I think characterizing like the majority of the public as wanting to kill civilians is a little sick, personally.
Ethan Klein appears to harbor contradictions. In his recent conversation with Sam Cedar of The Majority Report, he claims to have optimism with regard to Israeli society. Israelis do not wish death on Palestinian civilians. He claims this is evident in the protests in Israel for the end of hostilities in Gaza. Though in more casual conversation, he not only tolerates but appears
The YouTubers have mod type abilities on their own videos. I mean, the comment sections come in all the time. You can't be constantly sitting and checking your comments and then properly moderating them. And also, I like to an extent, like, it's different to Twitch. I think all comments should be posted, and commenters should, hash it out amongst themselves. Which can sometimes lead to people finding, new information and new perspectives on particular things. But if somebody is, outright bigoted, blah, 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 you just ban them. But, it's not on you to always find every single bigoted guy and ban them, That's not your, fucking full-time job, checking comment sections. He doesn't, but I think the structure of his content at worst invites them, or at best leaves enough ambiguity to be a hospitable place for those kinds of people. There's a lot of, enlightened centrists here, et cetera, that come in because they want to watch basically recent history videos. But I think that's a very decent pipeline to kind of radicalize them at least into anti-imperialism. And through anti-imperialism, maybe eventually invite some sort of fucking class consciousness into their fledgling little baby brains. So I think it's a decent funnel that he's creating, basically through history. But always, very, analyzing recent history is always relatively controversial because, we don't have all the data, not all the vaults with the secret documents have been unveiled, not... every person involved who has a diary on what actually happened has passed away, so we can't really access their information. Still developing situations, blah, blah, blah.
Crazy hamburger! Crazy hamburger!
Obviously, the incredibly, subjective, ideologized perspective on who was good, who was bad. You need a lot of time to pass before, you can analyze the situation without giving those sorts of judgments that can limit you greatly in your historical analysis, no side choosing, blah, 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 which is very often necessary. Just as what else is necessary? Fucking Joel walking in here with this huge fucking cock and fucking dropping 10 fucking dookies of oil on my fucking face, forcing me to take my fucking dookie out. I don't know what dookie means. I think I'm confused on this. Does dookie mean No, Dookie doesn't mean balls. I think it means shit. I made a mistake. Thank you for the 10 gifties, you motherfucker. Another 5 gifties from myself, because this is the only place on Twitch where I spend my own money so you don't have to watch a single fucking ad. Thank you. Oh, Dookie is shit. Fuck. I was talking about his testicles. Sorry, Joel. I was talking about your massive ball sack, not your massive shit. I didn't just imply that you took a shit on me when you oiled me up. Joel just slapping the gifty cock on the table. Exactly. And it's 10 long, if you know what I mean. So, anyways, apologies for talking about shit. I'm not apologizing about talking about reproductive organs. I will never do that. We're all human, and reproductive organs, phallic objects, and deep objects are a part of our everyday psychological definition of self and of the other. Now, let's continue with that little small Freudian interlude.
To share a more jaded outlook.
The thing is, in Ramallah, there's a lot of there's going to be like Hamas operatives and Islamic jihadists and stuff that live there. So I don't even know necessarily if it's like the ordinary people, but yeah, they will kill you.
I just got out of the bathroom. What did I miss?
Whether sincere or not, I found his incredulousness at the notion of Israeli society
It's a massive cock first, so I got your intent. Absolutely. I'm glad, my friend.
supporting the killing of Palestinian civilians interesting. Following October 7th, what Americans could glean from reactions inside Israel to the carnage in Gaza was no less than completely horrifying. Members of the Knesset called for nuking Gaza. A prominent general wrote opinion pieces calling for inducing epidemics of disease and making the strip uninhabitable. Israel's finance minister shared the article and expressed his agreement. Israelis took to social media to mock Palestinians, gloating over their running water and electricity, which was cut off to Gaza. Though, for some reason, I held on to an assumption that these were
Hey, you don't know if you're a big kvass drinker. I made some myself and it was delicious. Yeah, I fuck with kvass, but depending on what I'm eating.
narrow and incomplete glimpses into Israeli society. I suppose I had a optimistic view that Israelis would surely harbor a capacity for empathy with Palestinians, to some degree. What I saw in the spring of 2024 was therefore a gut punch. It was a report from Pew Research Center titled Israeli Views of the Israel-Hamas War. I read it carefully, and a figure leaped out at me. Israeli Arabs, Palestinians, are much more likely than Jews to say the country's military response has gone too far. 74% versus 4%. Honestly, reading it now, I still can't believe it. And for
Yeah, that is an insane contrast, yeah.
that, I feel incredibly naive.
They have found out that there is a slop tuber that talked about performative activism or whatever, and the deprogram got mentioned, apparently. What we do, performative activism? Ooh, I love performing activism. Ooh, dude, if I get a single person to organize a month, I've done more than 99% of these fucking big dick grass touchers, respectfully.
I guess it fundamentally altered what I believed about humanity, about people. It was genuinely horribly depressing. For me, it was a sign of the damage that's been done and the work that is ahead. Or maybe there are other ways to interpret it. It certainly was not a moment of optimism for me. Already in
Obviously, you know, you have 50 plus years of rooted a rooted ideology of segregation. You have a rooted ideology of ethnic, religious, and cultural supremacy. You have the, you know, material proof that you have to convince yourself is proof right in front of you, as you're saying, you know, the streets of Israel develop at such a quick pace, while the degenerate, you know, barbarians across the gates, across the wall, do not manage to do so. Obviously, you don't take material conditions into consideration, and the fact that they live in a concentration camp and you have a free market economy that's pretty much completely subsidized by the United States, etc., etc. All the perfect a perfect cooking pot to turn the majority of the population into elitist, racist, bigoted, war-hungry individuals. This is not Jewish culture. This is not something that belongs ethnically to them. It is simply a state that has extremely successfully ideologized the majority of its population into believing in their own superiority. This is not the first time that it has happened. This is not the first state in which it has happened. It has happened throughout modern history, and it will continue to happen as long as we allow it to develop. But yeah, I'm only bringing up a caveat so that nobody thinks that this is, an unsolvable situation, because ideology is crushed through the crushing of propaganda, which has introduced you to it. But when ideology is crushed, such as, post-war Germany, blah, 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 with some successes, some failures because of the Cold War afterwards and so on, it must be done ruthlessly and to the core. So the ideology, the system must be crushed, not individuals which have grown in their bigotry from it, or they gotta leave, right? Thank you, Joel, for the gift subbing. Now we're 9 gift subs away from another one from me, and thank you, fucking Glacy, for 16 months. That's lovely. Thank you, Glacy.
December of 2023, Human Rights Watch reported the Israeli government is using starvation of civilians as a method of warfare in the Gaza Strip, which is a war crime. Israeli forces are deliberately blocking the delivery of water, food, and fuel. By the new year, the images of destruction in Gaza were no less than apocalyptic.
Thank you again, Joel, for the second gift to you, fucking G.
As we all clearly remember, as it was widely reported, owing to a bombing campaign that you'd have to go back to the Vietnam War to make a comparison, in the words of Mark Garlasco, who's frequently interviewed by news outlets for his unique expertise in weapons. He worked for U.S. intelligence, the United Nations, and Human Rights Watch, for which he investigated.
Thank you, Spork. Welcome to the fucking child soldier team, my friend. It's been over 2 months without aid into Gaza. I've received very upsetting emails from people in Gaza. Their babies are starving and wasting away in their cribs, quite literally. Starvation is rampant, and everybody needs to keep in mind, I don't even know why I know this data. Starvation is a mode for killing. It has a ridiculous drop-off point. Like, you can starve for a very long time, but once you hit that, depending on your age, your size, etc., once you hit that particular threshold point, there's borderline no going back, even if you get access to food, and just everybody starts fucking dropping everywhere like crazy, right? So let's hope we don't hit, even though it's very likely, don't hit that drop-off point. Because then, numbers go from 100 into 10,000 into 150,000 over a couple of days. The roll-off point from 500 starved people in an area where, for example, there is 50,000 people over to 5,000 people is insanely quick. To get to 100, it's pretty hard. We're resilient motherfuckers. This beautiful Homo sapiens experiment of ours. But once you actually reach the threshold, it becomes very disgusting. It also becomes like, you lose motivation because you're seeing everybody dropping around you, so you start dropping. It's very nasty business. Thank you, 1988, for the fucking gifty, and thank you, I'm a Bluebird, for 16 months. Very kind of you, my friends.
Israel's 2006 bombing of Lebanon. Other quotes from experts were similarly astonishing. In 2 months, we've had about the level of strikes in this tiny little area in Gaza as what we saw in Mosul and Raqqa combined, said Larry Lewis, research director at the Center for Naval Analyses and formerly the U.S. State Department's...
It also takes a lot of medical support. You can't just start feeding a starving person. It's a delicate balance. It absolutely is. It's like... a lot of people that have been starving, immediately want to gorge themselves on as much food as possible, which is 100% understandable, right? But like a lot of them end up dying because of that.
Senior advisor on civilian harm. Even CNN in this article placed the number of killed as of January 2024 at nearly 25,000. 1 year after October 7th, many more tens of thousands had been killed. The number couldn't possibly be known for certain. A credible study from The Lancet, reported by the New York Times, said many tens of thousands more than the oft-cited but conservative Ministry of Health numbers. Gaza had been so destroyed that even the U.S. president was calling it a
demolition site. It's a pure demolition site.
But protests had erupted in Israel to
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
Sorry, trying to keep the mood up,
end the so-called war. Real quick, why do I say so-called war? In Gaza, we certainly haven't seen regular warfare, obviously. Hamas has no regular army. But we've hardly seen what can be called an asymmetric conflict. It's important to note that numberless Gazans have bravely resisted the Israeli military despite unimaginable and impossible odds, including the following. The Palestinians in Gaza have been hermetically sealed inside without any way out. They have no peripheral sanctuary state for which to regroup and rearm themselves. They are completely trapped. They've had to dig tunnels going underground to find a sanctuary. This, in a strip of land the size of Philadelphia, that also holds an entire civilian population. Of course, the existence of this small strip is a result of the Nakba, as some 70% of the population are not from Gaza, but are refugees from the ethnic cleansing that took place, particularly in the cleansing operations, that's what they were called, in Isdud, Ascalon, Beersheba, and throughout the Negev. So, Gazans are fighting from a place that is in no way conducive for combat, for reasons completely out of their control. The Israeli onslaught that began on October 7th was a culmination of lessons learned in previous destruction. We can clearly see how the so-called wars of 2008 and 9 and 2014 were punitive rather than driven by military.
Same population size as Northern Ireland, less than 1/6 of the size land-wise. Yeah. I don't think most of us can even comprehend just how tightly packed the entire fucking area is. Or just the constant and eternal anxiety that absolutely everyone lives in over there. And that's before the current more active section of the genocide process started.
Military necessity. Tank crews spent their time firing their cannons at buildings and destroying civilian infrastructure, said a soldier who took part in the 2008-9 Operation Cast Lead. Go ahead and ask soldiers how often they encountered combatants in Gaza. Nothing. The interviewer. When you entered the Gaza Strip, there was no resistance? Next to none at all. Following Cast Lead, veteran defense analyst Amos Harel quoted a squad leader who said, "The atmosphere in general, from what I understood from most of my men who I talked to, the lives of Palestinians, let's say, is something very, very less important than the lives of our soldiers." The Independent quoted a junior officer who served at a brigade headquarters.
Is this news to absolutely anybody?
During the operation, who described the new rules of engagement policy following the announcement of the notorious Dahia doctrine of disproportionality as one of literally zero risk to soldiers. Just take this incredible interview with a bulldozer operator.
Speaking of campaigns of massive and eternal and absolute unadulterating destruction and elimination, join the great child soldier army of YugopnikTwitch for $6 a month or for free through Prime. Elevate yourself to the position which allows you to take up your digital arms against the eternal occupation and oppression over our eyeballs, ears, and bodies by the advertising regime which has seeped itself in every corner of this beautiful platform. Unite, for one day we shall see the sky turn red above a Twitch, which is completely adless. Thank you very much. The next ad strike will begin in 1 minute and 45 seconds. Thank you for your service, Pretty Brian. And of course, for every 10 gift subs, for every 10 given child soldiers to the cause by your wallet, I shall spawn 5 more. Thank you, brothers, sisters, and NBs. May we see an adless era begin.
Objective was to
I'm Hitler's top guy.
demolish houses. We were secured by heavy armored personnel carriers and tanks. In this case, the tanks were assigned to us rather than the other way around. The area was completely empty. Everything was empty. Interviewer:
If you didn't say it, thank you, Pretty Brian, for joining the cause.
Ghost town? Not a soul in sight? Yes. We demolished a lot. There were people who had been in Gaza for 2 days.
Although it looks like Israel has gone too far and is starting to lose out, even with Trump, it's ironically extremely expensive to commit a genocide. It is very, very expensive. Especially when you're pussy bitches that don't want to go in with knives and pistols and rifles, but you just want to constantly bomb above ground. I guess that's the ideological conclusion that you have to come to when you believe that you are, a superior people to all others. So you can't really potentially sacrifice your soldiers because you need all that jizz to impregnate your holy women in order to, create a new Reich, a new Holy Land or whatever the fuck. So yeah, that they're losing because they don't have balls to go in and potentially lose soldiers, so they have to bomb, and bombs cost tens of millions of motherfucking dollars. It's literal one-to-one inefficiency at mass murder because we are too cowardly to look who we are going to kill in the fucking eye. Very pathetic. Israelis have managed to somehow make mass murder even more pathetic than it is. That's the sound of my girlfriend, who I believe brought me some Zins or some vapes. So I will leave you with this, and I will go get my Zin or vape. I don't know what she got me. I hope it's a Zin.
Is constantly demolishing one house after the other. And we're talking about a whole battalion. In a separate interview, a soldier is asked, "Did you happen to escort bulldozers demolishing houses? Do you know what they destroyed? Why? How many?" If they didn't like the looks of some house, if it disturbed or threatened them, then it would be taken down. Interviewer: "But that was for operational needs?" Operational needs, I don't know, maybe half of them. Sometimes the company commander would give the D9 something to demolish just to make them happy.
Thanks for your beautiful subs. The girlfriend returns with gifts. The holy velo has been delivered.
This isn't to mention the demolition and damage carried out by shelling. One participant of the 2014 carnage, a first sergeant of the engineering...
You think she wears a mask too? By the way, like and retweet this. I will delete it afterwards so it will not fuck with your algorithm. This is exactly what I posted yesterday. It went semi-viral. Hassan posted about what happened to him, blah, blah, blah. They stopped me, it is kind of fucked. And my response was like, yo, Hugo, why are you so adamant about wearing a mask on stream? Why the fuck do you think, motherfucker? If you think that happens in the States, what do you think would happen here? Anyways, if they want to know who I am, they can. I know, but still, I think it was a very eloquent explanation of why I do what I do in the way I do it. Definitely don't do it for popularity because you ain't fucking, signing any big production company contracts or getting normies in your community when you're wearing a fucking ski mask. Nor is it very probably healthy for me because I can barely breathe in this fucking thing.
Marine Corps said, "I got the impression that every house we passed on our way got hit by a shell, and houses farther away too. It was methodical. There was no threat. They were spraying every house with machine gun fire the whole time, and once in a while blasting a shell into each house." A first sergeant in the Armored Corps recalls, "We were all firing a lot when there wasn't any need for it.
You mask drop? I just got this mask. It's the best mask. It's very, very good. I got it in this color and I got it in this color. In brown. Ooh. Yeah. It's very breathable. It's much better than shit like this. Right? This is for bicycles and shit. This is real military shit. That's why it's so good. It costs like an arm and a leg for just a cloth.
Just for the
Heidi Irish kneecap mask? Yeah, I could.
sake of firing.
We need the program mask merch. That's not a bad idea. Dr. Slippy, you just made me a couple of dollars. That is not a bad idea. Do you sell your used mask? Oh, man.
Okay, fine, my wife's a terrorist, bro.
We were firing purposelessly all day long.
I will refuse to answer that question.
Hamas was nowhere to be seen. This can hardly be called warfare. These were brief, one-sided punishment campaigns. Israeli civilian and military commanders seemingly acknowledge this with their oft-repeated phrase, mowing the lawn or cutting the grass, which also alludes to its routine nature. Yosi Glauzius explains the phrase very helpfully in a rage-filled opinion article. She had seen eclairs in a bakery in Israel that read, "Let the IDF mow them down." The Hebrew word written on the eclairs means mow, as in to lawn mow. But mowing is also a euphemism for something more brutal. Mowing the grass is a term popularized in 2013 to refer to Israel's strategy of attrition designed primarily to debilitate the enemy capabilities. To put it more crudely, mowing the grass means bombing Gaza periodically to facilitate temporary quiet for Israel. This desire to punish the civilian population at large was explicitly articulated, and the policy solidified following Israel's strategic defeat in the Second Lebanon War. Giora Island is former national security advisor to Ariel Sharon and Ehud Olmert. Before this, he was head of the IDF's planning and operations branches. He now continues writing policy prescriptions in opinion pieces, particularly for Ynet and their affiliated Yediot Aharonot. You'll know his so-called general's plan to starve North Gaza. He's the general.
Surrender or to die in starvation. This is the all simple plan, which is fully consistent with all the international demands and fully consistent with the law of the armed conflict.
That the military quickly began implementing the plan is a testament.
It's nothing new. It's like a classic medieval strategy. You surround the castle of your enemy and you tell them to give up absolutely everything or they will starve to death or they will die of disease and blah, 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 right? Siege warfare, my friend, as old as man. Only different thing is that it's live stream now. Exactly, Squeal Pig. Exactly.
To his influence in the Israeli defense establishment.
Eran Etzion was deputy head of Israel's National Security Council until 2008.
The ousted Defense Minister Gallant denied on camera that the government is actually implementing this plan. Netanyahu denied it also in a closed session with Secretary of State Blinken. And then when asked by Blinken to say it publicly, Netanyahu refused.
Back in 2008, he wrote that in the event of another war with Lebanon, the suffering of hundreds of thousands of people are consequences that can influence Hezbollah's behavior. Israel's most recent offensive began with bombing, starting on October 7th. The ground invasion didn't begin until the 27th. This was accompanied by a further tightening of the siege.
Thank you, Joel, for your beautiful gift sub, baby.
Which had already been in place for some 17 years. Hassan Alian, head of Koget, the agency responsible for facilitating aid distribution, said plainly that these measures were revenge for October 7th.
مع هيك وحوش بشرية رايحين نتعامل كيف لازم. إسرائيل فرضت إغلاق كامل على غزة ومش راح يكون في عندكم كهرباء ولا مي بس دمار. بدكم جهنم راح تحصلوا على جهنم.
A sense of retribution and revenge must have fueled the other measures with regard to targeting. Yagil Levi, writing in Haaretz, challenges Israel's oft-repeated distinction as the world's most moral army. To reduce the risk even further during the ground offensive, Aaron,
It's legitimate medieval stage warfare. Yeah, this is a classic.
We see several Israeli soldiers hurling a flaming projectile over a concrete wall using the trebuchet, the type of wooden catapult used in the Middle Ages and even before that. What makes this unusual is that Israel takes pride in being a high-tech nation. The Israeli military told us that the use of the trebuchet was an isolated incident aimed at clearing a thicket where Hezbollah militants could hide near the border. But Israeli reservists we spoke to told us that they saw it being used earlier in the war.
No, you know what it is? They're fucking bored. That's what it is. They are so overpowered in comparison to the enemy, at least technologically, and by a massive and protected by a massive fucking wall, that while they're chilling behind the wall, they're like, you know what would be funny if we made a trebuchet, and then probably some guy like made it his main project for like 3 weeks to make a trebuchet, and he made a trebuchet, and they were like, wouldn't this be funny? Yeah, it's hilarious, bro. And then they started hurling it over. It just, it's like being like maxing out your character and playing in a server, confusing the algorithm so that it lets you in a server where, the guys that haven't even unlocked a rifle are also playing. So, you run around and you noob tube everybody, or you do like a knife-only campaign and shit. That's what they're doing. And Ghosted RS just did it to me. He whipped out his fucking knife and slit my financial throat with 10 fucking gifties. Ghosted RS, thank you for your 45th fucking gifty. Paint the chat motherfucking purple. Here's another 5 for myself. Thank you, everybody. Say thank you, Ghosted. Thank you very much. Israel is like Elon Musk the country. Yeah, pretty much. Thank Occult because fuck you. Okay, I'll post it. Not bad. Not bad. Thank Occult because fuck you.
Subscriber. We are seeing
no problem, Murphy. Mutual aid of subscriptions, the only place on Twitch where anybody does what I do.
Wonderful. A new
because
soldier.
no amount of money is worth having to watch ads because that's what I think.
Escalating tensions between Israel and Hezbollah on the northern front. Hezbollah fired a barrage of rockets at Israel on Wednesday after an Israeli strike in southern Lebanon on Tuesday killed Commander Talib Sami Abdallah, one of the most...
Oh wait, this is not it. This was the thing.
Artillery attacks preceded the entry of the ground forces into every area and accompanied them during the ensuing fighting. In the words of a reserve combat soldier who entered the city of Beit Hanun and published an opinion.
Even if you want to make an argument that like these are the necessities of war, if you want to defeat a paramilitary organization that is not defined by a particular state, but I don't give a shit. But let's even put on our like Israel good hat just for a second. And pretend that they just want military successes and not the wholesale genocide of Palestine. The past year has proven that they have a much more productive mechanism, let's call it that, at their disposal, which was, basically assassination, very, very targeted hits on key leaders of the so-called axis of resistance, right? They managed to wipe out the entire Hezbollah leadership. They managed to, after a long time, kill most of the Hamas leadership, etc., etc. Like, they were always capable of doing... What the fuck? What the fuck? Stop giving a shit, motherfucker. Thank you so much, and thank you, Joe, but thank you. Stop giving a shit is just fucking, like, running at the top spot. Potentially overtaking even Barry of the fucking balls. Jesus Christ. Seriously, stop giving a shit. Thank you very much, man. I really fucking appreciate you. I really, really fucking appreciate you. But you need to start giving a shit from time to time, Here's another 10 fucking gift toys, and here's another 5 fucking gift toys. Because let's fucking go. Paint the chat fucking purple. Thank you very much. Very, 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 very much. Half of you motherfuckers will be watching ads without stop giving a shit, okay? And Goosted, okay? And Joel over here. So be grateful to your majors, captains, and generals. But yeah, no, seriously, thank you. But back to what I was saying, like even if you just want to like be a apolitical military pragmatism guy, whatever the fuck that is supposed to mean, Israel has shown that it had the military capabilities to surgically target key leadership of these opposing so-called anti-Israeli organizations. The reason they don't do that in the first place is because it's very much in their interest to always have a very large boogeyman on the other side of the border to, to use as a cry to motivation amongst their own populace to support the wholesale ethnic cleansing campaign, which is the actual end goal. The only way to create apartheid ethno-state that is stable long-term is to pretty much follow the American model, which is the complete extermination, borderline complete extermination of the populace you find to be problematic. Okay, so that's the goal. Thank you, Heretical, very, very much for the 4 months.
Piece anonymously in Haaretz, the level of destruction we saw was biblical, and our contribution to it was nil. Air, artillery, and engineering forces that preceded us and hit buildings from a distance prepared the ground for us so that we could enter with minimal risks. As a result, as of October 7th, 2024, Israel had lost 349 soldiers in ground operations. A paltry 2% of the Israeli claim of 17,000 Hamas combat casualties. As Levy points out, however, this was simply the number of men killed, according to Gaza's Ministry of Health. They had all been labeled combatants. The Ministry of Health's numbers are conservative, however. An analysis published in The Lancet and reported in the New York Times says they may have undercounted traumatic war-related deaths by 40%. The number may have reached over 70,000 by the end of 2024. Worse yet, the analysis did not account for other war-related casualties, such as deaths from malnutrition, waterborne illness, or the breakdown of the health system as the conflict progressed. That this could be called a war is patently absurd. Israeli leaders have made their targeting and punishment of the civilian population known with their widely reported statements. Already by June of 2024, some 70,000 tons of bombs were dropped on a piece of land less than half the size of New York City. That number is more than were dropped on Dresden, Hamburg, London in World War II. Combined, the massive destructive power, with 2,000-pound bombs being common, erased entire towns. Amos Harel, chief defense correspondent for Haaretz, went to Jabalia and took photos.
Calling it a war is genocide denial, 1,000,000% agree. Complete agree. Somebody can, accidentally, blurp out the wrong word, etc., but, and that doesn't mean that they're doing active genocide denial. But if somebody is really, 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 really adamant at defining what is happening as exclusively a military versus military type of war, is doing genocide denial.
And reported that the town, previously home to 100,000 people, was gone. Others shared the same fate, as described by Ahmad Tibi, one of the few Palestinian members of the Israeli Knesset. Entire towns, like Beit Hanun, Beit Lahia, and Jabalia, have been wiped off the face of the earth in bombings by the IDF. Cities comparable in population size to Herzliya and Dimona have been bombed into rubble. And the world, with its silence and its armaments and its material support, is supporting this. The media in Israel wobbles between total denial and depicting the actions as heroic, justified, essential deeds. We have arrived at an absurd rule. Nothing justifies October 7th, but in the name of October 7th, everything is justifiable. There is no security justification for such massive bombing.
The ultimate consent manufacturing machine for exactly this.
No military action can justify bombing helpless human beings or the eradication of Beit Lahia, Beit Hanun, and Jabalia from the face of the earth. This ethnic cleansing is reminiscent of the ethnic cleansing of 530 villages in 1948. In the Jewish Israeli public, voices of protest and resistance are hardly audible. Israeli outlets reported on Netanyahu scuttling negotiations, and it was an open secret that he did so in order to placate his ministers. A hostage deal would cause his government to collapse, and so Israel was effectively being run by the government's most fanatical ministers. Israel's left wing was furious and made as much known. My impression was that, certainly not all, but many Israelis had had enough.
Thank you very much, Atomic Lich, for the 13 months. Extremely kind of you.
Also a year after October 7th, the Israeli Democracy Institute released a report on the public mood. On ending the so-called war, it was only an even split among Israeli Jews. And not even really. Only 45% wanted an end, 43% didn't, and 12% were no help at all. Of course, the better part of all Palestinians wanted it to end, which added several percentage points to that camp. I wrongly believed the calls to end hostilities was a broad and popular movement among Israeli Jews.
Palestinians are the bravest people on the planet, to quote Anthony Bourdain. Nowadays, everything is made in China except courage. Courage is made in Palestine. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I didn't get the Bibi Escobar comparison thing, because Escobar also did terrorism. What's the pitch there? What's the parallel? I don't get it. Like, he's a mob boss. It still boggles my mind that Ike argued Anne Frank was inspirational because she just let it happen to her. Oh, don't get me started, my friend.
Protests were large and widely reported on, but they were far more partisan than I had realized. Worse yet, however, were the reasons that this sector of society had for ending the so-called war. A little more than half said for the safety of the hostages. This amounted to the most common reason. The second was because they could focus on another war with Lebanon. Then it was that the fighting achieved what it could, 9% didn't know why, and 6% because of the great cost in human life and the desire for quiet, peace, and security. And
what ideology does to a motherfucker right there, okay? I mean, 60 plus years of active domestic propaganda and the creation of the idea that you are innately, ethnically, religiously, and in every other way superior to your neighbor, who does not only need to be expelled, but does not deserve to breathe the same air as you, turns not only the military industrial complex of your state, but also the wider populace into those supporting the same type of massive ethnic cleansing policy. Been there, done that. Very, very classic shit. Of course, underpinned by the incredible material privileges that everyday citizens get to enjoy on the backs of this apartheid system.
2% said for improvement.
As Marxists, we always want to see the systemic underpinning which has caused a particular thing in order to stay away from an incredibly problematic approach of, just openly calling for warfare on an entire civilian population, because most of them happen to be very, very reactionary, right? As many a philosopher from the West and East Coast of the 90s and 2000s of the United States said, don't hate the player, hate the game. And not just on a ethics point. That is the only way for you to actually solve the situation. You must destroy the racial supremacist apartheid system of Israel if you actually want to destroy the underpinning motivation for this ethnic cleansing, so that you can stop this ethnic cleansing. Just calling on, eternal unending war on every, burn down Tel Aviv, blah, blah, blah. My brother, I know the emotions are running high and completely get you, but it will not actually lead to the main thing that we all want to see, which is the Palestinians not to be wiped off of the face of the earth, right?
Improved relations with the U.S. Someone who's been grappling with Israeli society's moral decline has been Rachel Fink. She illustrates poignantly a personal crisis.
How do we realistically get there, though? Thank you very much, Joel, for the gift sub. Through the... I mean, I can't say it because of TOS. But systems which keep a particular group of people in a very privileged position will force those people of that particularly privileged position to resist the destruction of the system. And the second they become active, violent protectors of the system, they should be classified pretty much as paramilitary organizations that are doing absolutely everything in their power to keep the said apartheid system in place. So the same way it was crushed in many an apartheid or colonial systems, it will have to be crushed in the same manner. And those who reject to crush it are, racist pieces of shit that you shouldn't even talk about or include in your analysis of what is to be done. But that should be the eternal target always. System. Because otherwise, we're just doing, an ear for an ear, a hand for a hand, and, the snake keeps eating its own ass.
For her, upon seeing Israeli news coverage showing desperate, starving people in Gaza. On Sunday,
how do you think Bibi will lose power? This is not just a Bibi question, my friend. It is Israel's system that must be completely destroyed. The underpinning idea of what Israel is must be changed into a normal fucking secular state where everybody gets to be a first-class citizen. Okay, without eternal subservience to the United States and to, to its military-industrial complex and so on. Just be normal, bro, as they say. But to become normal after you've been unhinged, you need to, how do I put this on Twitch? You need to get outside help.
Sunday evening, when Channel 12's main news broadcast featured some of the most gut-wrenching footage coming out of Gaza, hungry children clamoring around a soup ladle in desperation, I felt for a moment a sense of relief. Finally, I thought. Finally, an Israeli journalist has made the brave and morally virtuous choice to do his job, to report the truth. That feeling lasted right up until said journalist, Elad Simchayoff, began to speak. Because it turned out that this wasn't a segment about Israel's
Listen, decolonization is an incredibly dirty and complex and long and nasty fucking process. But the opposite is the complete extermination of a whole people. Which one do you want?
failure to uphold international law or protect civilian life. It was a report about Israel's failure to sell the war properly. Not a failure of policy, a failure of branding. As I watch, I experience a kind of emotional whiplash. Time and again, Simchayev starts a sentence that sounds like there might be a moral reckoning coming, and it ends with a plea for better PR. But it is also possible to wonder if perhaps it is time to improve our...
I was talking among some other leftists, and I made the point that Zionism is Nazism. They said the two are completely different. Any opinion on this? And maybe some to read. Like, my friend, like, it's an absolutely adequate comparison to be made. But Nazism is just, you know, the Germanic, racialist comprehension of hyper-hierarchical fascist thinking. The same way, you know, communism is an idea, but applied the way it was applied in the Soviet Union is Bolshevism, right? And here we have Zionism as a specific term, which has a lot of parallels with Nazism, main ones being a holy people that deserve to inherit the earth, the subhuman barbarian nature of the enemy, and the undeniable moral authority of a greater people over its own destiny, even if it means the complete extermination of the other, etc., etc. Those are the main parallels, right? But, we still have Zionism as a word for it, because it's, it's not focused on the Nordic peoples or the European Lebensraum and so on that the German Nazis had. But making parallels between the two is absolutely adequate and can be done, because there are massive parallels between the two, right? It's just another form of fascism.
Simchayev begins contemplatively. Humanitarian policies, accountability, Hasbara efforts with skilled spokespeople, a clear and effective...
Like, fascism doesn't belong to Italians and Germans. You can unironically have, I don't know, an unhinged Ghanaian fascist that's doing something weird in fucking Ghana. Like,
if strategy and believable information, he declares, that's not a punchline, it's his game plan. For much of Simchayev's report, as his voice plays off camera, B-roll footage of starving Palestinians begging for flour and wandering through the rubble of pulverized buildings runs in a loop. When it cuts back to anchorwoman Yonit Levy, she sums up the segment with a single line. Those are the images being shown to the world, she says, with clear disdain. How many different kinds of delusional do you have to be to air horrifying footage of human suffering beneath a voiceover lamenting the challenges of public relations? What does it say about a society when you can look at a child, sunken-eyed and silent with fear and grief, and decide the real injustice is that she's hogging the spotlight? We're now entering a third month of a complete and total blockade of all aid into Gaza. This includes food and medicine, everything. Nothing has been allowed into Gaza for months now. Additionally, back in April, Nir Hassan wrote that Gazans are experiencing a severe water shortage, which has worsened since approximately a week ago when the Israeli Defense Forces struck the main water pipeline into the Shijaya neighborhood of Gaza City. Because of damage to the city's other water sources, the pipeline provided about 70% of the water consumption there. Now, why does it matter that Israeli society is characterized by a culture of dehumanization? It matters because it contextualizes the issue, and it contextualizes Israel's treatment of Palestinians, as well as their dismissiveness of Palestinians and their suffering. Its real-world consequences are apparent in Yagia Levy's Haaretz piece. The revenge impulse, accompanied by the notion that no one in Gaza is innocent, meant that those whose lives are perceived as lacking in value were put at even higher risk and may even have led to the deliberate killing of civilians. A consequence of the fact that conscription into the military is mandatory in Israel, which blurs the lines between the public mood and that of the military.
Yeah, decent video. It focuses on showing particular, surveys, hot takes by generals, by journalists, and so on, to show what the attitude of the average Israeli is on the Palestinian plight. And it shows that it's not one of humanism. It's quite to the contrary. A whole group of people that believe that their neighbors do not deserve the right to exist, which again is underpinned by the system which has motivated them to believe such things and can only be eradicated with the eradication of said system. It's as simple as that and as complicated as that, because to get to the point of the eradication of the system, you must cut through the hordes that protect it. And it does not focus on the antics of Ethan. Yes, I really like this. They literally hook you with Ethan in the beginning because he's a great rent payer, right? And then a whole video on, the Zionist project. It's similar to what Noah Samson did. I like it. It's good propaganda. It's great propaganda. It is very, 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 very good propaganda. Ethan Klein is lying about Israel. $100. Duh, bruv. Ethan Klein appears to harbor contradictions. I love the way GDF speaks. Absolutely. Let's move on to the new Second Thought video, which is looking based as fuck. Okay, let's get that link in. Everybody go subscribe to my boy. Come on, everybody's already subscribed to my boy. It's the biggest fucking leftist YouTuber, bro. Like, come on, who ain't? Zelensky to meet Erdogan in Turkey. Way ahead of you. I'm actually recording a deprogram episode just with JT in 2 hours? No, 3 hours? 3 hours? Plus 1, plus 2, 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I'll be with you for the next 2 hours and 40 minutes, my beautiful, beautiful fucking chatters. Oh my fucking God, you're so gorgeous. Okay. Stop, Hugo, stop. Jesus Christ, this guy's fucking editing quality is out of this fucking world, man. He's even making Johnny fucking CIA Harris fucking, you know, shake in his goddamn breeches, bro.
Is it just me, or does it seem like conservatives are getting really comfortable with casual cruelty these days?
The Cruel Kids table.
The Cruel Kids table.
Are you cruel? They want to be able to say slurs.
People feel like they can say the R word specifically.
We're going to call them fags and again.
Many people feel or see a power in that.
It was an act of astonishing cruelty and callousness.
There's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Can you come check it out of my ham?
Somehow we've given them edginess, but the shitbag left is taking it back. And no, the shitbag left is not about just using slurs and so on. It is about calling them stupid fucking troglodytes, just without having to use slurs. Like the word troglodyte, which is not a slur, okay?
I'm gonna eat half this plate during the break. Maybe I'll call the ICE hotline. I don't know if I'll have enough time.
If somebody's getting deported, I actually find it hilarious. I find you guys to be subhumans.
Since the inauguration, we've seen conservatives lashing out. They're excited. They're calling people slurs as if it's edgy.
But it also says a lot about just the permanent internetization of culture. It's we've posted for so long that posts have overtaken speech. What do I mean by this? It's like you can run a campaign based on telling people that they can finally post stuff that they can no longer post. Like they can say the R word, they can, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's so fucking nerdy and pathetic and fucking weak as shit, brother.
And not just sad. And while this isn't new by any means...
They're cringe as fuck when they're trying to be edgy. Yeah, because they're not being edgy. They're just calling somebody an R word. Like, that's not edgy, my bruv. That's not edge.
It does feel more intense and shameless now that Trump is in office.
And our country will be woke no longer.
But no one is shocked, right? No one is shocked this is happening. Just like no one is shocked who is being targeted. Immigrants.
We're getting the bad, hard criminals out. These are murderers. These are people that have been as bad as you get.
But also
very
trans
bad.
people.
They're very bad. They're gonna take your toothbrush.
The office more than a week ago, he's now taken several actions focusing on transgender people.
And really, anyone
the transes, they're gonna take your dicks.
In with the DEI label, including women, black people, the rest of the queer community, people with disabilities, and on and on. Everyone knows what we're talking about here. They even made a list for us.
Hi guys, I'm the tallest right-winger. Ooh, my eyes are down here, guys. Why does nobody want to date me?
NSF employees were given a list of words, this list of words, to look for in grants and flag them for possible termination. This, by the way, is only a sampling of the words. It's much longer.
At the policy level, it's clear what the point of this is. DEI is nothing more than an excuse conservatives use to...
Heightest, yes, a proud one. But there are good shorts. Okay? My best friend is short. I don't hate short people. My best friend is short. Okay? There are some good shorts.
Defund, deregulate, and gut whatever public agency is on.
Shorts and talls, all I'm saying, equal but separate. Okay?
On the chopping block. Trump and...
What's up, Maple Takes? Pretty soon history books are going to say that the first nuclear weapons were dropped by the enologist roommates.
Elon want to eliminate more and more parts of the government until all they're left with are the cops and the bits that'll keep them rich, cutting out anything and everything that keeps everyone else safe or generally makes life in society have a point. The rhetoric is working side by side with devastating—
Son of a bitch! What the fuck? Bless me now, chat. Bless me in the name of the Lord.
Eliminate more and more parts of the government until all they're left with are the cops and the bits that'll keep them rich, cutting out anything and everything that keeps everyone else safe or generally makes life in a society have a point. The rhetoric is working side by side with devastating policies, and those policies are making life worse for everyone, but especially those conservatives are painting as different. If all of that is pretty obvious, the rationale behind why DEI specifically works is a little less clear. That is, until you realize that this kind of thing isn't all that new. It's part of a long American tradition of backlash politics. And to really understand it, to really grasp where this misplaced anger against disenfranchised people is coming from, we're going to need to talk about the economic roots of conservative politics and how liberal politicians like Biden and Obama have played into this. Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a quick second to thank our channel sponsor, Aura. With the recent demonetization wave of left-wing channels, a lot of people have very kindly reached out to ask how they can support our work. One of the best ways to keep this channel afloat and get some quality peace of mind while you're at it is to sign up for Aura using my link. If you're not already familiar with Aura, it's an all-in-one digital safety solution that helps protect against identity theft, financial fraud, and online threats. If you're anything like me, I'm sure you're tired of having ethical reacts. Dozens of separate subscriptions for every aspect of your life. Since I switched to Aura, I've been able to cancel—
Was JD's hair always so curly, or did it get curlier the more left he became? I need to ask him that.
A bunch of those, because Aura's got everything I need. It's a VPN, antivirus, password manager, encrypted storage. It provides credit monitoring, dark web monitoring, up to $1 million in identity fraud protection, spam call, text, and email blocking, even comprehensive and customizable parental controls, so you can keep your kids or your aging loved ones safe online. You can get a 2-week trial completely free when you use my link.
Now make sure your wife don't catch you cheating, if you know what I mean, brother. Yeah.
That's plenty of time to see whether any of your personal data has been compromised and to opt out of all those obnoxious spam lists. If you're serious about protecting yourself and your loved ones online, give Aura a shot. It's a great service that I personally use, and every sign-up directly supports our work here at Second Thought. Thanks for your consideration. All right, back to the video. Let's talk about backlash.
Backlash.
If you haven't heard about it before, backlash, or more commonly, white backlash, is a term we sometimes hear when progressive—
Let's fucking go, Joel. Thank you for the 5 gifties, and a reminder that to avoid ads, you must elevate yourself from a simple chatter into a true child soldier by subscribing for $6 a month for free through Prime, or by giving me additional child soldiers, and for every 10 gift subs, I will do what? I will gift another 5, and yes, those stack. So if you take Joel with 5 and add another 5, that equals 7, no, wait, 10 maths indeed, and then I added another 5. Actually, no, my math was good. If you 5 gift subs now equal 10. Math, stuff, words, yes, I am saying them, fuck ads and stuff. Let's continue.
Politics
Thank you, Joel.
Are violently reversed by conservatives. It's usually called white backlash, specifically because we've seen this happen mostly when white conservatives violently make sure white people stay above everyone else. The most obvious example of this happened after the Reconstruction era. If you remember, the 15th Amendment made it so that states couldn't deny black men the right to vote anymore, and as a result, 500,000 black men joined voter rolls and elected nearly 2,000 black representatives. This obviously didn't end racism or white supremacy, but that possibility was scary enough that, in response, white conservatives got to work finding ways to exclude black voters to make sure it never could. You've definitely heard of this already, but the Jim Crow era backlash to Reconstruction meant a whole new list of things designed to keep black voters out, like literacy tests and poll taxes at the voting booth. Parties also ran all-white primaries to make sure black candidates weren't even making it on the ballot, and generally made it near impossible for black Americans to vote or get elected. And it all worked. The poll tax they set up in Georgia, for example, cut black voter turnout in half. Meanwhile, white voters could skirt most of these new laws by being grandfathered in, meaning whatever voting status their grandfather had, they would automatically get too. For black Americans whose grandparents were slaves, this obviously didn't apply. Whites had literal inherited privilege, and so society remained heavily segregated to the benefit
systematically as well. That's why it's so funny. It's not just the ideology of racism that had persisted in the United States. No, they made unironic legislature that literally said you gotta have been white for a second now if you want to vote.
Benefit of white
systemically, and well, you gotta get up in my business like this.
Americans. But like I said, this didn't stop in the 1800s. The backlash we saw after Reconstruction, we also saw against the Civil Rights Movement in the 60s, the women's movement in the 70s, and the gay rights movement in the 90s. When poll taxes and literacy tests were abolished, for example, backlash happened through new techniques like gerrymandering, voter ID laws.
You know what's something that's like objectively, aesthetically looks like shit, but really makes me feel extremely comfortable and makes me feel like good, makes me feel nice, is when I wear my glasses like this. Like, I know it's so douchebaggy, but I guess maybe I'm a douchebag. No, am I a douchebag? Holy shit, I'm a douchebag. But it just feels so right, you know. You're like, no. You know, you got your glasses on your back. Woo-ha, yeah. I'm a guy with the glasses on my back. I'm a guy with glasses on my back. You're weird. No, it just feels right. Like keeping them here. Like, well, makes them break, like spreads them or whatever the fuck. Keeping them here is so fucking boomer, it's disgusting, right? Here is disgusting. But here, you know, not so much. Scared to show your face. Yes, because you would recognize that it is your actual stepdaddy that is streaming, okay? You're either trying to ward off stalking tigers or you're a douche. I guess I'm a douche. Because there's no tigers where I live. Eternal douche-a-bag. I was back of the headless boomer because it's kind of edgy-ish. It depends if you... Okay, just like everything in life, it depends if you can pull it off. If you can pull it off, then it's not douchey. If you cannot pull it off, then it's not douchey. And let's fucking face it, I can pull off fucking everything, bro.
Anti-progressive judge appointments, the war on drugs.
So just look at me do it. I don't... Oof. Does this trigger you, chat? Oh, are you triggered yet, chat? Man, I'm behaving like a Republican. Are you triggered yet? Oh, feels so right.
And more recently, the dismantling of things like affirmative action policies on the grounds of fairness. Meanwhile, by the way, wealthy legacy admissions are completely untouched. And it's not hard to see all this new anti-DEI stuff as another example of backlash. DEI is the new woke. Woke was the new CRT. CRT was the new BLM. BLM was the new politically correct. And PC was the new civil rights activist, and so on, and so on. In the mouths of conservatives, these words...
Yeah, but go back. It's time to go back. But go back before civil rights activists. You know what it was? It was race traitor. It was fucking race traitor, okay? I have stood by you for years since you've been on YouTube and have agreed with most, if not all, your opinions. But what you just said right now about sunglasses on the back of your head, that is the line I am drawing in the sand. You have crossed me and you will regret it. I am so sorry, Debo. You've been with me for so long, but I'm not going back on my opinion that it is extremely based to wear your sunglasses like a 75-year-old Floridian white man, okay? The only good thing 75-year-old Floridian white men have given us is wearing glasses on back. You know what other thing that I really like that you will also absolutely despise? I want to buy one of those cloth thingies that you can like put on top of your glasses, so that you can wear your glasses and you can take them off and you can just drop them and they stay here. That's what I really want to do. And like walk around with glasses just here. And then pick them up and put them. You know, and then just drop them. Those are so cool. That's so unk. Those are cool. Yes, granny chain. They're grandma core. Grandma core is sick as fuck, bro. Like a Sex Pest movie producer. That's so classy. There you go. Differing opinions, aesthetics. Who would have thunk that people would not agree on what looks good at a rate of 100%?
Are synonyms for black, trans, gay, woman.
Thank you, Toadletarian, for the fucking 16 months. They still exist. It's Miami Cubans. That's true. Thank you so much for the 16 months. Incredibly kind. And thank you, Joel, for squeezing in another beautiful gifty. We're now 4 gift subs away from me donating another 5. Thank you.
And all those things become shorthand for bad, unqualified, entitled, lazy, or undeserving. This might sound exaggerated to some people, but we just saw an incredibly obvious example of this when that helicopter crashed into a plane in DC earlier this year.
That a small aircraft collided with a helicopter.
Trying to recover the wreckage from the American Airlines jet and the Army helicopter, both colliding, killing everyone on board the 2 different aircrafts.
We do not know
The DEI crash of 2024.
what led to this crash, but we have some very strong opinions.
Trump immediately blamed DEI in the vaguest terms possible, giving conservatives a long leash to flood social media with their attempts at finding out if anyone involved was indeed DEI, meaning not a straight white guy. They assumed, without needing to say it explicitly, that if everyone involved was a straight white guy, then they couldn't possibly be unqualified. As if white...
Bombaclat. You guys know the 6-egg bombaclat? My girlfriend just showed it to me the other
This
day.
is some bullshit, Stephen. This can feed a whole family.
You know
and
this?
you're gonna eat this bomber clad thing with 3 pussy clad thing there. That is some fuck with Stephen. We can't support you no more. No. Get the fuck out of the house. Look on the bomber clad plate of egg. How much egg you fry? 6 bomber ass
She's
clad
so
pussy
fucking
bomber
passionate.
blood clad egg. 6
My
blood
son is a
clad
fucking
egg,
idiot.
dog. You ever work in a DNA bomber clad life?
It's the pussy clad that
You
gets
have
me.
6 egg. You know what we can
6
feed?
pussy...
We put 6 egg? Huh?
Pussy
We
clad
can
bread.
make a dinner for people. A big dinner for like a whole family. 6 egg. And how much bomber clad bacon? That could be like 100 piece of pussy clad bacon. And you top it off with 3 bomber clad egg. And you call that breakfast? No. No, this is it. Me not do this no more. No, Stephen, me can't do this no more. When you done yam the fucking breakfast move out? Me can't support you no more, Stephen. It not work. Watch this greedy fucker now, watch that. Watch this ugly fucker. Yeah, put it up on it. Yeah, spread it out, fucker. Me the whole world see how you fucking greedy. Yeah, get your syrup, you fuck.
And I don't even know exactly what pussyclat means. I guess it's just like derogatory. It's just like, you know, you fucking suck, you piece of shit, you dumb fuck. Like shitty, like that's pussyclat. But I never knew pussyclat existed, so it caught me so fucking off guard. It's such a good video. It means fucked up. Yeah, it's like pussyclat. It's like, it's just a curse word. Yeah, it's like pichka. It's like pichka in Serbo-Croatian. We just add pichka to fucking everything, you know? Pichka jebena, šta me gledaš, bre? Neću da jedem ovo sranje, ono.
And had a monopoly on
pičketina, brat. Što to stavlja? Zato što je pička, bre.
Being qualified, despite the fact that if there's any group whose race and gender has given them a leg up, it's white men. Knowing full well that the odds were high that someone involved wouldn't fit that bill, the conservative project for the week became finding out every single person involved and...
Pichka is pussy, but also we don't just use it as this pussy. We just use it like good day and goodbye.
Based exclusively on their identity, figure out if they really deserved to be there. And for a minute, they were happy, because one of the pilots was a trans woman. Except, no, she wasn't involved. Jo Ellis, the trans woman misidentified by thousands of conservatives online, is alive and well. But in the frenzy...
Don't you know, Chad, planes and choppers only fall if there's a minority driving them. riding them, no, flying them, driving them. Very English language spec, me very London language, indeed spec very good. Still gets me that you all have a single word for pussy lips. Yeah. Bitch coasty. If the pilot ain't trans, I'm canceling my plans. Yeah, brother.
Easy to find a scapegoat, her identity became a lightning rod for the anti-trans backlash crowd. Another piece of evidence in favor of letting the system continue to pump out white supremacy. But let's refocus. To hear the right talk about wanting to say slurs and moving further right explicitly for that purpose, then slashing anything related to progressive causes, they usually imply that it's because the left went too far. As if anybody actually suffered because they were told saying slurs could be inconsiderate. As though DEI policies ever reversed the racist hiring and firing practices of American businesses or resolved the disparities we have in our society. It doesn't matter. Woke was just too much too fast. That's something we've heard a lot from conservatives, particularly from apolitical comedians. But what I haven't told you yet is that even though I keep using the word backlash, almost every single incident of backlash in American history actually took place before progressives had made material progress. All of this stuff, all this conservative anger and reactionary politics, it's almost never based on any actual loss of privilege from what these losers—
As Yugopnik watched Carlin or Hicks before, literally on stream, like 50 times, bro. I live for specifically Carlin. Oh my God.
consider normal people, but almost entirely on the fear of losing those privileges.
I will never support somebody that will put me at a disadvantage because of immutable characteristics. Maybe you do not need that.
Thank you, Joel, for another giftee. Joel really sprinkling that love and affection to his fellow child soldiers today. Thank you, Joel.
But I think I should be treated fairly, the same as everybody else is. And
wait, what?
Never
shit. I wasn't paying attention to the video, but the room started smelling really bad, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on? Did I fart?" Turns out it was Asmongold on screen, and yes, the man has elevated his stench to such a point that even digitally he can generate a sort of unease that enters absolutely every single room. Okay?
Entirely on the fear of losing those privileges.
I will never support somebody that will put me at a disadvantage because of immutable characteristics. Maybe you do not need that.
The point isn't to put you at a disadvantage. The point is for nobody to have any sort of advantage based on immutable characteristics. Okay, everything else is a supremacist attitude if you actually believe that because of immutable characteristics you get to be on top. The only thing the leftists, at least normal, not unhinged ones, want to do is actually level out the fucking playing field, but no.
But I think I should be treated fairly, the same as everybody else is. And if somebody says that I shouldn't be treated fairly and I should be put at a disadvantage—
I love fighting the non-existent communist that just, I don't know, wants to really treat Asmongold unfairly. Though, come on, let's be honest. Asmongold should be treated unfairly because everybody without a decent, not decent, a baseline level of personal hygiene should not be allowed in public spaces. Brian Kilme, the transphobic jokes cancel culture discourse just hit Malta, and I want to send myself to space with the shitty takes, mostly from the apolitical people and shit libs. Please give me some of that gold, Rakia. I will, my friend, anytime you want to come visit. Fucking yeah. It's spread here as well. It's spread everywhere. American cultural imperialism is not sending its best. We only get the reactionary aspects of it. Thank you very much, Joel, for another gifty. Sprinkle that shit all over chat.
Advantage, then I'm going to vote against them. And you can say that it's not fair or whatever. Never.
In their minds, equality is a slippery slope that ends with them at the bottom of the hierarchy. Every attempt to redress inequality is therefore reverse racism or giving them a disadvantage, even though it's obviously not. It's a fear that's well documented and completely unfounded. Let me put it clearly. If you are not born as a normal white guy, you will face obstacles that are unique to your group and that normal white guys won't. And the conservative fear that locks those obstacles in place is a direct product of the conservative politics of racial capitalism. That's actually always been the case. Take the Civil Rights Act. Remember how I mentioned that it also experienced backlash? Well, to be more accurate, prior to it being voted in, conservatives were fear-mongering that it would mean favoritism and special privileges for Black Americans. The Civil Rights Act. Conservatives lied, and white Americans were worried that integration would mean subjugation, that they'd be forced to sell their houses to Black Americans, or that Black people would, quote, take over the country. Again, this was during the Jim Crow era.
I mean, it hurts me to even say it. It's the greatest cliche of all time, but the only reason a majority feels should fear becoming a minority is because it tends to think that the minority will treat them the same way they treated them in the first place, which inadvertently admits that deep down inside, they know that they are actively mistreating said minority.
Era, and none of that was ever part of the Civil Rights Act, obviously. But
like that's why, you know, white people that aren't racist absolutely don't fucking mind this, because they're like, well, so what if there's like a Black majority? I don't get it. Like, it genuinely, like, it flies over their head in a good way. Like, yeah, there's just like more people that look a little bit different than me walking around, big fucking deal. But dudes that are either directly or subconsciously racist, they're like, no, that's going to be bad, because they're probably going to start, you know, thinking shit about me the way I think about them, but then they'll have enough power to act on it, which I don't want to see, and I want to keep my privilege in this relation of bigotry towards the other, right? Like, if there's anything like there's anything going off in your head that looks like fear at the idea that people that don't look like you becoming a majority, you have issues that you really need to work on, and you're a little bit of a bigot, but, you know, you can get help. There's still time.
The newspapers were filled with calls that the civil rights movement was going too far, moving too fast, that they were being unreasonable. Politicians were getting letters from white voters saying, quote, wait a minute, we've got rights too, as if white people's rights were ever in question. The right mobilized to pump out a message of fear and reaction that would block the left on their path to material progress towards equality, thwarting the economic equality.
That is the only, like, honest racist to an extent, and only, like, honest white supremacist, and only, you know, honest white nationalist. And honest does not mean good. Honest just means that they're not fucking lying. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about when a white supremacist literally says, listen, history is one group of people oppressing another. One group of people is always going to oppress another. Hierarchy is inherently human and very often based on how somebody looks and ethnicity and so on. So we want to make sure that our people are the ones that are stepping on necks and not, and want to make sure that our necks aren't being stepped on. Like, that is racist, that is fucked up, that is unscientific, it is fucked up, but it is honest. Everything else is sleazing through the cracks, giving you different policy pitches that at the end of the day believe the same thing. And that is that they will get, that your people will immediately be stepped on if they ever stop stepping.
Equality that was part of the civil rights movement's demands. The same is true today.
Hierarchy is not inherent, absolutely, but that is what fascism is, at its absolute crux, at its absolute core. The radical belief in the natural category, which is hierarchy. The naturalization of hierarchy is not something that can be diluted, something that can be changed, something that can be overcome through civilizational progress. Quite to the contrary, it is inherent to the human experiment and therefore must be brought to its fruition through the dominance of a chosen people over all other subhumans.
DEI initiatives haven't meaningfully transformed the distribution of wealth or power in this country. That doesn't...
And what is subhuman? Subhuman is everything that is not you, based on whatever immutable characteristic you want to pick.
Mean it's an entire...
What's up, Robo? We're watching JT, and we're talking racism.
Entirely bad thing, but by and large, it's a weak attempt by corporations to look less evil without needing to do much. Yes, there are a few women and queer and black people in positions of power. But them just being there hasn't dismantled the system of producing inequality that unfairly targets the groups they belong to. Just to remind you, the average Black or Latino household is still far below the average white household in terms of wealth, as is the average queer household. Members of all these groups, non-white people, queer people, those with disabilities, are also still experiencing discrimination and harassment at incredibly high rates, on top of higher levels of poverty, homelessness, and unemployment.
You're one black man who went to a good, essentially white high school in the city of New York.
That's
you
correct.
obviously had a good education. A good many of the people who work with you here in SNCC can say the same thing.
And we're saying that...
And you're a black man who came from a New York ghetto.
And we're saying that there's a system that allows for 1 or 2 black people to get out.
Hey, look at you. You managed to do well for yourself. Doesn't that mean that everybody else can manage to do well for themselves? The logic of literal fucking troglodytes.
And that's the rationale for keeping other black people down.
And it has
literal liberalism. Like, that is liberalism.
nothing to do with the unwillingness or inability of the Negro to help himself and to work hard.
That's the rationale, that the reason why black people aren't this is because they're lazy, unambitious, stupid, have rhythm, and they eat watermelon.
Nothing's changed.
And they eat watermelon. That was funny. I mean, fucked up, but you get, like, he just sprinkled that shit right in. Pissed in his fucking mouth.
The same year this clip of Kwame Ture was filmed, 1966, columnists in...
Okay, listen, you either believe in material conditions, pushing particular populations towards this or that level of success in capitalism, or you are racist. There's no third direction there. Because if you don't believe that material conditions greatly influence, systems, blah, 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 greatly influence how a particular people is doing, you must then believe that particular people are less capable than other people in certain regards, right? So if you don't believe that a particular country, let's even take a whole country, is poor because of its history, because of the kind of stage of development it finds itself in, because of its relation to empire, to its neighbors, to the strength of its economy, to how much of its own resources it can exploit instead of them being exploited, etc., etc. If you don't think that that's what defines just how advanced a country is, then you de facto must believe in ethnocentric virtue, like certain peoples are better at this and another people is better at this, which is called, drum roll please, I don't have a fucking drum roll.
Wonderful, a new child soldier.
Racism. Okay. Thank you, Astano, you fucking J. Sub for the price of Cevapcici. What a deal. Absolutely, Astano. Thank you for the 7 months. Black excellence liberalism is not my place to speak on, but it's on vivid display in society today, of course. Even as a kid, I hated hearing if they could get good grades, everyone else should be able to do it. Of course. That sound works too. With racism, yeah. Want racism. Want. But yeah, I stand with my point. If you don't believe that material conditions define the way, on average, a particular population, both a minority or majority in your country, or entire nation states, etc., perform, then you have to believe that there is something, inherently in a people's blood that is different than the blood of others. So these guys are good at math, these guys are good at basketball, these guys are good at making very good food, these guys are blah, 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 right? You're essentializing a non-scientific concept, which is that there is something inherently different between Mike, Ahmed, and Julio. But on a biological level, there is not. It's epigenetics to an extent. It's not even epigenetics. It's eugenics. You either believe in material conditions or you believe in eugenics. There is no third path. What's the third path? Oh, because difference in culture. What underpins differences in culture? Cultures develop based on the particular place that they live, that are molded by those specific circumstances in which people have existed for hundreds of years, that have made them very good at this or very good at that. When you change those material conditions over decades, it readjusts, and those cultures can become better at other shit as well. Blah, 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 blah. Communist shit. But you get my fucking point. The third path is Lysenkoism. Lysenkoism. What is Lysenkoism? A political campaign led by the Soviet biologist Lysenko against genetics and science-based agriculture. Oh, that guy, the fucking agriculture guy. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's funny. So what about people that have pretty much a mixture of almost everything in them, like me? Am I just good at everything? If that's the case, then why do I suck at everything? Why couldn't my genetics make me a high-functioning member of society? I guess, my friend, you are too mixed, and you have gotten all the negatives of everyone else. If you have gotten all the positives, you could literally be reading Proust while dribbling a basketball and engineering the next space shuttle or some shit. Thank you, fucking Grey Goat, you fucking G, for the 5 gifties, which takes us over the fucking target of 10, which makes me come in with another 5. Paint this beautiful chat fucking purple. Eternal death to ads. Thank you very much. Love you, homie. Love you, homie, too, bro. Thank you very much. But yeah, material conditions or you're racist. There's no third path. I'm sorry. That's just correct, okay? There's not a controversial opinion. That is just correct.
In major newspapers, we're still writing that if the Johnson administration, quote, insists upon ignoring and trampling majority rights in efforts to favor minority groups, they may in time provoke a white revolution. When we focus on the language of backlash like this, we can make it seem like the problem is progressives asking for too much, somehow. As if these simple demands for equality, generations old and still unanswered, are forcing conservatives into reaction. And that's just not the case. Backlash doesn't just happen. It's produced, actively, by conservatives. This media ecosystem, the discriminatory laws, the letter-writing campaigns, and the civil society groups that protested against things like the ERA, this required funding, militancy, and effort from conservatives. This cruelty, then, it's not some spur-of-the-moment anti-woke response to arrogant woke-scolding liberals. It's part and parcel of the conservative political project.
Exactly. It's consent that is manufactured. It's not it's most of the time it's not a organic kind of thing that just exists between groups. Because organically also there are no groups. Ah! Son of a bitch! Thank you, Joe.
And it comes...
You're not a son of a bitch, I mean like son of a bitch. Yeah.
Straight out of other things like their obsession with borders. See, part of the current obsession with the border is that it's an acceptable way to engage in racial capitalism for conservatives and liberals
Exactly.
alike. Capitalism...
Man, who is this JT? Really smart guy. Maybe I should start a podcast with him.
And capitalists have always been able to use race to distinguish people and use their differences to put people into deserving and undeserving boxes.
Thank you again, Joel.
Labels like DEI become shorthand for these boxes in popular culture while keeping plausible deniability, by the way. In any case, those in the deserving box...
I don't know, he has some tanky vibes, not gonna lie. How about I drive a tank through your mom's fucking house? What was that? That was a classic Hassan response.
Get well-paid jobs and or a high social status. Or, at the very least, they can enjoy a safety net of some kind, knowing that, for as bad as things might get for them, they will always be worse for those in the undeserving box. And once you've made a box, what is true for race can be true for differentiating people along any lines, meaning gender, sexuality, ability, whatever you want. Until recently, all
is that crazy kind of like orientalizing like cope mechanism? Because you're like, okay, there are white people that are much richer by the definitions of capitalism than me, much more successful, etc., etc. But at least I am not as bad as that other guy, you know? At least I'm not a homeless person. At least I'm not a single mother. At least I'm not this, and this. It's a way to lie to yourself that you still matter, without actually looking at the big guy screwing you over, by telling yourself, okay, like I feel inferior to the big guy, but I will ignore that and focus absolutely all of my attention towards feeling superior to the guy that is below me in said hierarchy.
All of that was fair game in everyday discourse. Plenty of politicians could get away with saying that black people, women, queer people, people with disabilities deserved less. It went without saying. Things are a little better now that that's not so true anymore, except when it is, like with immigrants. While centrist politicians can't attack most of the groups I've just named and get away with it unscathed, groups like immigrants are fair game. The Biden and Obama administrations were rolling out dozens of policies denying asylum seekers, throwing immigrants in Guantanamo Bay, and funneling more and more money to Border Patrol in equal measure to Trump. And they could do it without uproar or fear of being unseated. And just like with other backlash movements, this turn against immigrants happened based on nothing. There is no such thing as a migration crisis. Since the 1800s, immigrants have been a roughly steady 15% of the US population. And by all available metrics, immigrants are no better or worse than the average American. Because of course they aren't. They have only positive impacts on things like Social Security,
JT, source,
and no negative.
Source. How aren't they? How aren't they? Source. Want a source on not being racist immediately. Show me a source, an academic source that proves we're not. Sorry, I was being a right-wing chud there for a second.
Impacts on things like native-born wages and employment. Not that thinking along these lines is even right, because just because you're born here doesn't mean you deserve more than another human being. Anyway, racial capitalism. All of these politicians are neoliberals. They are comfortable with the fact that the state has changed its job. It's given up on welfare and the idea that life should improve for everyone across the board, and instead doubled down on policing and categorizing people. Something that they can do easily at the border, and that they can easily transfer to applying within the rest of the US, like we're seeing today.
Ed Grok, is this real? Are we really not racist?
Tovarci Bananici, udite il richiamo.
This is Grok responding.
Guida il Soviet fruttamo, scarponi giganti, picciolo in testa, la lotta è marcia, la buccia protesta. Capitalism marcio, un fico svanito, il cervello si guasta, ma è nostro il partito.
Thank you, Comrade Grok.
With ICE. Like with the rest of the backlash politics, the intensification of border policing comes from a baseless fear of being replaced, and the assumption that that would mean an inversion of the hierarchy. Again, nothing like that has or will happen. But because other forms of discrimination have become socially less acceptable, differentiating the deserving from the undeserving in a socially acceptable way still needs to exist. Hence, the all-out war on immigrants. And slowly but surely, the pool starts to get bigger again. First, saying Mexicans are rapists goes down relatively smoothly for about half the country. Then all of a sudden, the question becomes, well, why shouldn't I be able to use the F-slur? I don't really mean it, until I do. This approach sucks, and it protects the wealthy from scrutiny. By beating up on immigrants and then everyone else, conservatives can give their base the impression that they're getting things done without actually helping them. Beating up immigrants doesn't help you.
Really? Source, bro.
Discriminating against queer and disabled people doesn't help you. Meanwhile, the tariffs make everything more expensive, and SpaceX gets another round of government contracts. The gap between the deserving and undeserving has gotten wider, but everyone moved down except the very richest people on Earth.
Exactly.
If women, black people, queer people, people with disabilities, and immigrants can be paid less, denied benefits in healthcare, and
as a one bearded man from the past century once said, TLDR, punch down, punch down, punch down, means you never look up.
Locked into gig work, if their homelessness can be swept under the rug, and this is all tolerable because they're undeserving, then as long as those in the in-group aren't pushed down to that...
You need to check this great video. Let me see it.
Lenini Mausolini. Wow, 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 yo, de Lenito le Mausolito OMG. L'epopea di Lenin e Mausoleo. La sala ambulante dell'immobilità storica. Una volta era semplice...
Oh my god. Fucking chat. I swear to God.
Same level, the wealthy can slowly lower the acceptable status for everyone. This is where backlash comes in. DEI initiatives signal to the in-group that their status being on the inside is no longer a safety net from the collective freefall we're all trapped in. These initiatives give conservatives the idea that status is now distributed differently.
Yo, bro, can you also please watch this? Okay, Robo. Let's see this as well. A little bit of a palate cleanser.
100 British people versus 100 Americans. One big room, no weapons. Who's winning?
I'm genuinely not even trying to...
Dude, fuck it. No, I think the Brits, because they have much more practice with knives, which is much closer to punches than the gun-obsessed American. But let's see the hot take.
...be patriotic, but I truly believe that against 100 British people, 30 Americans could get the job done and take the W. And to illustrate this, I'm going to draft a very...
Really? I mean, 30 Americans... I mean, 10 are already dying of of a heart attack because of immense diabetes in the first 2 minutes. The other 10 will start beating on will split in half based on race and start beating the living shit out of each other. And the remaining 10 will have to fight 100 British people. Okay, not saying that similar things wouldn't happen in the British quadrant, but still.
Diverse, broad-ranging fantasy team of 30. Here we go. 2 people from Appalachia born and raised among the mountain folk. 2 Floridians with a criminal record. 2 blue-collar workers from Boston. 1 drunk Eagles fan born and raised in Philly. 1 Waffle House employee, any state. 1 corn-fed Midwesterner.
Okay, but you're only picking the Giga Chads from your country. Do we all, does everybody get to pick the tough motherfuckers? Okay?
Emo Midwesterner. That's 10 right there. Then we add 1 grandma from Louisiana, 1 old man from Atlanta, 2 Italian Americans from New Jersey, 1 with mob connections, 1 without, 2 women from the LA area that identify as Chicana and wear gold hoops, 1 veteran who has definitely committed a war crime, 1 polyamorous person from the Pacific Northwest who still believes everyone should be masking, 1 gay man from Rhode Island who identifies as a bear, and that 1 girl in high school who smoked weed and has a big-ass tapestry in her room. That's 20...
Yeah, but the British have football hooligans, bro. The British have football hooligans. No, that's not... The British have roadmen and have football hooligans, okay? And there's a big chance the football hooligans will fight the roadmen after the battle against the Americans finish because, well, you know, Western country, racism. But still, come on, dude.
Right there, which I think could get the job done. But just in case there are any duds, let's add 1 citizen of Texas who refers to themselves as a patriot, 1 no-nonsense softball-playing lesbian, 1 no-nonsense basketball-playing bisexual, 1 middle-aged dad in the suburbs who directs people pulling out of parking spots, 1 cowboy, 1 cowgirl, 1 farmer, 1 person from Baltimore, 1 person from Chicago, 1 New York City cab driver. That's 30 right there. They're taking it.
There's 100 British versus 10 Yugoslav. There's no debate. The Turkish would win. You motherfucker. That could warrant you a fucking ban, bro. I'm eternally grateful that my mother worked with helping immigrants when I was growing up to have a weekly meetup of immigrants and locals in the area where we grew up, mostly with mothers and their kids. And everyone brought food and hung out together. So much Balkan food, Middle Eastern food, African food, South American food, and a bunch of little homies to meet up with every week. That's lovely. That's fucking community, man. That's how it should be everywhere. It's supposed to be normal. Treating people like people, not a particular category.
Even though it's not actively making life better for the majority of working class people, regardless of their race, gender, or ability, it doesn't matter. The fear of becoming indistinguishable from the racially subordinated, and of living lives of no more security or privilege than them, resurrects the most extreme forms of racial protectionism. Here's the truth. We are all living in a...
Who are the biggest Chads in Europe? Robo asks. I mean, one of the two one of the 2 European ethnicities that has had active war experience in the last 3 to 4 years. So The Ukrainians and the Russians, I guess. I mean, especially veterans or whatever the fuck.
A world where the New Deal was destroyed by liberals and conservatives both. Gig work is everywhere. Our healthcare sucks. Higher ed is a debt nightmare. But not everybody experiences it to exactly the same degree or in the same specific ways. The legacies of privilege are still with us and can still give some people a leg up. But DEI discourse gives conservatives the idea that this is slipping away. And instead of fighting for everyone's liberation from this death spiral, the lack of guarantees for those who used to benefit from the top dog status is sparking a new anger. Not at the wealthy, who get to stand behind the president and who actively make your life worse, dear conservative viewer, but at those who have been racialized, those who the border has separated out, those who are too cozy with the undeserving, those who can be cast aside.
Chat, is this just JT being subjective because he has curls, which means he is a minority? Okay, I see a little bit of ginger as well, which, as we've learned recently, being a ginger equals being black. So, I don't know. I think this is minority propaganda right here, okay? He's just pretending to be white, but he's one of them, actually, chat. Chat, is JT white, chat?
All the people you share far more in common with.
Leftist ginger, I know. Oh my god, the timing, bro.
Than you do any billionaire. So what good are the slurs then? This is how we started the video, after all. On some level, it's probably not very deep. Conservatives are feeling emboldened by an administration that's egging that stuff on. They're having fun saying a bad word even though they're not supposed to. And all these conservative pundits are...
Honey, did you and your boyfriend see me call Elon Hitler? Literally everyone calling Elon Musk a Nazi is an R word.
are there to wink at them and tell them it's okay. It is painfully lame for...
I will never forgive the left for giving right-wingers facts over feelings, because we are literally a movement of facts over feelings, and yet they get to use this shit. I will never forgive you fuckers.
Rest of us, but whatever. Within the context of conservative politics...
You disagree, you must be R-word. That is the quintessential right-wing argument.
Though, these slurs, they're also something else. They're a clear attempt by conservatives to define themselves as part of the in-group by clearly stating who's out, by associating the undeserving or lame or stupid label with someone who is other, someone who doesn't conform, someone who they can signal that they are different and better than.
Oh, I cannot afford a house. Oh, because of inflation, my ability to buy stuff is far lower. Oh, this category of, economic disfranchisement. But fear not, fellow American white man. I can say the R word now. Thank you, Mr. President, for literally saving me from fucking taking myself out. It's too easy, blad.
They're advertising to each other that they shouldn't be kicked out. They know that the borders between who's in and who's out are blurry, so they're making sure that everyone knows that they aren't DEI or whatever. The conservative movement isn't exclusively white men, but it is exclusively people who all agree that they're part of the good ones, and that as proud members of the good ones, they will fight to keep the bad guys down, proving it to each other by being as mean and cruel and careless to those they desperately don't want to be associated with. But just know that neoliberalism isn't sparing anyone, conservatives included. The party's over for all of us. And sadly, for a lot of people, just believing in the fantasy that you can be spared because you're the right kind of person can sometimes be enough. So if you're not...
First they came for then they came for but literally, yeah.
Not ready to fight for equality, if you're too stupid or arrogant to see that you're next on the chopping block, why not be cruel if it'll make you feel safe and powerful in the meantime?
Absolutely, everybody who has not yet somehow subscribed to Second Thought. If you're not one of the 1.86 million people, then please do consider going and subbing to my boss, okay? Me boss, very good man, very smart, very genius, okay? Since we're on the topic of right-wing chuds, let's have some fun. Let's learn something new, every occult Nazi belief. Let's dunk on Nazis by talking about
Real
occult Nazi
energy
beliefs,
is-
which would be fucking hilarious because it just shows how unhinged their general ideology is because of the little spin-offs of the IRL D&D these people fucking play on the regular. I think it can be a very nice jumping off point about talking about general, fascist ideology, how it develops, how it underpins itself based on some sort of I just believe this feelings over facts type shit. But before we do so, I must remind you that ads are about to play. Ads are bad. Subscribing is good. So subscribe for $6 a month, free through Prime, or by gifting to your boy. And for every 10 gift subs, you will receive another 5. Is this an ad against ads? Yes, it absolutely is. Here, a woman with big boobs eating burger. Here, a big truck. Both are saying, become a child soldier now. Does this sentence make sense? No. But it makes more sense than watching a fucking ad. Thank you very much. That was my ad pitch. Indeed, it was excellent. Thank you, Gabriel. JT Leather Catboy Wen. It's under a big paywall. And another 100 biddies not liking your boss's video up against the wall. No, I loved it. Thank you, Lazy K! Immediately walking the fuck in and fighting the good fight against advertising, which makes me fight the good fight against advertising with another fucking 5. Paint, chat, motherfucking purple. Thank you, Lazy K, as always. You're the least Lazy K I know. Thank you very much, Ka. Everybody say, thank you, Lazy K. You're not lazy. You're actually very productive. Now let's continue. I always fall into a rabbit hole looking into this Nazi shit, but end up feeling gross afterwards. Yeah, I guess. Okay, let's start this conversation.
Is a mystical cosmic force believed to grant superhuman abilities and power, advanced technology.
Virility, brother, yeah, virility. Some people have more virility and other people have less virility. So we, of course, when we're talking about an invented thing that defines certain peoples as better than other peoples, it's always going to be our peoples that got that thing. Don't you know, chat? Whenever I'm talking about like a invented strain that differentiates one people from another, it always happens to be my people that got that base thing. It's funny how that works, isn't it, chat? Thank you, Joe, very much.
Technology. This idea originated from the 1871 novel The Coming Race by Edward Bulwer.
There you go. Literally, like fiction books, like all of fascist ideology, all of fascist world building is Lord of the Rings. Okay, there's nothing more underpinning it.
Lytton, allegedly a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which described a...
There's just fucking nerds in little fucking clubs. They're like, bro, what if like certain peoples were like orcs and the other ones were like elves, bro, and like they fought over dominance, bro. Let's make this our whole worldview, bro. We have nothing better to do and we do not get laid.
Subterranean race called the Vrilya.
She doesn't want to give you puss. I mean, she's a subhuman.
These beings...
Nazi RPG, you don't even have to say...
Crazy hamburger!
You don't even have to say Nazi, it's RPG, like all of them, like are just RPGing.
Beings wielded a psychic force, Vril, that allowed telepathy, telekinesis and control over life and death. The novel suggested that the Vrilya, once surface dwellers, evolved into a superior society through Vril's discovery after retreating underground due to a natural disaster.
There you go. That's why I knew this video is going to be fucking great. It just... I invented it. But boy, why are you shooting all those people? Because I invented that we are God's chosen space aliens, and they are lizards, and they get to die. But dude, that sounds a bit... Are you a God's chosen space alien, or are you a lizard? Depending on the words you say in the next 5 seconds, your destiny will be predetermined.
Some occultists interpreted the book as disguised truth. believing Vril to be a real universal life force. By the early 20th century, during a search in occultism and mysticism, Vril became a popular concept in German esoteric circles. Rumors suggest that a secretive Vril society formed, possibly linked to the inner circle of the Thule Society, an occultist group that influenced Nazi ideology. Figures like Maria Orsic, who apparently founded the Vril Society, were said to claim contact with Aryan aliens through Vril.
Oh, I have a whole video on this legendary shit.
Vril energy. Post-World War II theories allege that Nazi occultists, including Heinrich Himmler and his Ahnenerbe research division, pursued it to develop superhuman powers, advanced technology, or even Vril-powered flying saucers. However,
Bro, what if we were Batman, bro? What if we classic Nazi chat, don't you know the classic Nazi saying, "We was Spider-Man and shit." We was Spider-Man and shit. We was Rhino Head and shit. We was the Wolverine and shit.
However, no concrete evidence connects the German National Socialists to real energy concepts. Ariosophy, meaning
Lenin would have loved dank memes. Absolutely, Dank McMuffin. Thank you for the incredibly kind 8-month streak.
wisdom of the Aryans, is an esoteric ideology developed in Austria by Jörg Lanz von Liebenfels and Guido von List between 1890 and 1930. Apparently, Hitler read Lanz's works in his early years in Austria. Ariosophy blended occultism, racial theories, and Germanic mysticism, forming a subset of the nationalist folkish.
I guess IRL, I'm inventing new anti-fascist rhetoric. Just call fascists like crystal mummies, because look, this is just crystal mummies, but with bigotry involved, right? It's like, oh, this crystal does a thing, but why? Because I read it in a book that it does a thing. Okay, it does the fucking thing. Okay, purple crystals make me more money. Green crystals make me healthy, and gold crystals make me better at sex. But with crystal mummies, it's lovely. God bless crystal mummies, because it doesn't fucking hurt anybody. But with these guys, it's like, this crystal has spoken to me, and it said that I am the true Ubermensch, and I must destroy all the other crystal people. More exactly, the crystal mummy New Age movement is pretty directly influenced by those bunks. Sometimes, I guess. Is there a correlation between right-wing conservatives and angels? If you ask these guys, probably, bro. Or are you asking angles? Because they love angles. Like, they draw everything with, like, a lot of angles in it. The more angles a symbol has, okay, the more racist it is, okay? Like, Nazi symbols, okay? Communist symbols. Let me prove my theory, okay? I'm shoving it right out my ass, okay? Look. Angle, fucking crazy angles, fucking insane angles, fucking angles everywhere, angles, super many angles, okay? And curvature, a few angles, but then inside of curvature, a few angles here, but still curvature, you know, type shit. So the more angles your symbol has, the more racist you are, is what I'm basically saying. We are developing modern communist theory here. Curvature and iconography, objectively good design, very human design. Commies are curvy, that as well.
Bewegung. It emphasized Aryan supremacy, runic symbolism, the swastika, and a return to ancient Indo-European religions, rejecting Christianity as a Semitic imposition. Historian Nicholas Goodrick Clark argued that Ariosophy evolved from the traditionalist folkish movement. According to him, it associated problems of modernism with the supposed misdeeds of
the traditional folkish movement. Was like a pre-Nazi, informal, borderline cultish kind of group. Not even a group, like an ideological movement, which was basically doing we need to go back to the land, we need to, make a lot of white kids, we are, our souls are connected to this land and therefore we deserve it type shit. It all came from romanticism, the greatest curse thrown upon the human species, romanticism. Just me, or does the rune look like the frontal view of a peepee? Yes. We was shamans and shit. Literally, we was shamans and shit.
Freemasonry, Kabbalah, and Rosicrucianism to prove the modern world was based on evil principles.
The modern world was based, what?
Guido von List.
Sorry, I'm just shitposting at this point. But you're with me on the ride, I hope, chat.
Envisioned an ancient Germanic religion centered on sun worship and a mystical priesthood, which he believed was suppressed by the Roman Catholic Church. He also claimed that heraldic symbols contained secret runic messages.
But again, it's the same shit. It's like in the past it was better. They're literally basically saying, yo, like Christians came and they made us not so based, so we should go back to the OG way of thinking, which is obviously always older with these like fucking ethnocentric fascists, which are always underpinned by traditionalism, right? So we got to go back. So literally what the chatter said, we was shamans and shit, and then they came and gave us this Jesus guy, and we're no longer shamans. So we got to go back to being shamans and shit.
Just preserving an Aryan heritage.
Grok, is this true?
He called it Armanism and heavily relied on mystical interpretations of ancient runes, which later influenced Nazi symbolism, including the SS insignia.
Yeah, but they're completely ignorant of how indigenous Europeans lived. Of course, you just LARP it. You never actually go deep into fucking understanding how this traditional way of life actually looked like when you point to it. Because if you really pursue like hardcore traditionalism back to core human tribal organization, you will realize that they were fucking pre-class and pre-hierarchy and pre-commodity. And that would make you have to have very complex conversations about whether, if we want to go back, then we also need to destroy the capitalist structure in order to properly organize ourselves as this, like, in my opinion, fictitious idea of a real man who was, who existed without the obstruction of ideology and so on and so on, which I don't think ever existed. The second we, developed a disposable thumb and self-realization, we were slowly molded by our environment and by the way we perceived the environment.
List's Armanism declined under Nazi rule as esotericism was suppressed. His ideas and symbols, including those of the Ariosophist movement, indirectly influenced early Nazi ideology. While connections to figures like Heinrich Himmler or Karl Wiligut exist, the broader Ariosophist influence on Nazi ideology remains speculative. Aryanism is the ideology that claims the Proto-Indo-European Aryan race is distinct, superior, and destined to dominate humanity.
And of course, as I said earlier, in all of these D&D light universes, it's our species, our race that is always somehow the superior one. It's funny how no nation of people developed a fictitious idea of why they are culturally and ethnically superior, and then said why somebody is culturally and ethnically superior, and then said, but it's not us, it's those guys over there. Now, all of us need to go and be slaves to those like other people that are superior. Interesting how that never happens. Interesting how, like, I don't know, a French guy doesn't develop a theory that says that Spaniards are de facto superior, and then they have to go and worship the Spaniards. Interesting how that develops always this way. Interesting. Interesting how the guys that always LARP hierarchy and fucking adore hierarchy and believe that, the bigger eats the smaller, always identify with the bigger. Pretty interesting.
Rooted in the racial theories of Arthur de Gobineau and Houston Stewart Chamberlain, it gained peak influence during Nazi Germany. By the late 19th century, writers like Vacher de la Pouche used traits like the head shape to argue that long-headed blonde
But we look different, bro. That means we're different, bro.
Nordics were natural leaders.
But okay, then what about height? What about height? What about height? What about Vacher, yo? What about how much hair you got? Doesn't that also, how much hair you can grow? Doesn't that also influence your position in the racial hierarchy, in the biological hierarchy, my guy? It's
destined to rule over short-headed peoples. The German An occultist Thule Society, founded in 1917, significantly influenced Nazi ideology, particularly regarding the origins of the Aryan race. They believed in Ultima Thule, a mythical landmass in the far north, possibly near Greenland or Iceland, which they claimed was the...
I love this channel. It just keeps proving me right. Yo, bro, what if there was like a mythical land called Tile where we all fucking came from, and it's actually us who are originally the closest by blood to the people from the ancient land that is now underwater, and that gives us the right to shoot a bunch of other people. It's Hugo, you are safe. Your head is quite long. Yeah, I got a pretty long head. Yeah. It's very disproportionate to the rest. Oh wait, we are talking about my head, my actual house. Sorry.
Capital of the ancient land Hyperborea. Thule Society member Karl Harrer was also a founding member of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, which would later become Hitler's party. Nazi theorist Hans F.K. Günther later classified Europeans into 5 subtypes, ranking Nordics as the racial elite. His work, read by Hitler, influenced Nazi racial policies. German
ranks ethnicities. German also says that German ethnicity is on top of ranking of ethnicities. Subjective much, bro?
Seen as predominantly Nordic, though Günther warned against mixing German and other blood. This led to laws like the 1933 Civil Service Act requiring civil servants to prove Aryan ancestry, and the Nuremberg Laws of 1935, which defined acceptable racial backgrounds.
There's a whole video that I made.
Himmler even sent expeditions to Tibet to find evidence of Aryan origins and mystical wisdom, believing the region held secrets to the supposed master race. The Nazi scientists collected specimens and measured skulls to define racial backgrounds, claiming the local population were Aryans. Himmler aimed to justify his obsession with racial purity through such expeditions. Later, debates arose over Aryan status within the Axis, with Hitler favoring northern Italians as more Aryan than southern ones. Mussolini referred to Italians as a Mediterranean branch of the Aryan race. The world ice theory, or...
Here there's a slight misunderstanding. So Mediterranean is race, Nordic is race. There's other words that they use for the other races that you can mix with, like the French and the British and so on. But Aryan is an ancient civilization from which a lot of these races have connected roots to which all of these races have roots to, right? So like Aryans no longer exist. They used to exist as a very specific hyper-advanced people, but everybody else, because of many, many reasons, I'm not going to go into it, diluted, but the Nordics have diluted the least. That's why they are closest to the Aryans. And the other, like the Mediterraneans, the French, and so on, can, through proper mixing with Nordics, be brought closer to the original Aryan idea. But they are not Aryan, right? Germans are not Aryan. They are... great times 1,000 grandchildren of Aryans, right? Small distinction in the ideological belief.
Welteislehre is a long discredited cosmological idea cooked up by Austrian engineer Hans
I love how he has to say long discredited.
Hörbiger. It claimed that ice is the fundamental cosmic substance and everything, moons, planets, and even the global ether, was made of ice. The theory proposed that the solar system formed when a massive star collided with a smaller, water-filled one. The impact triggered an explosion, scattering icy fragments
We was ice and shit.
into space. Those frozen blocks formed the Milky Way and various solar systems. Hörbiger even blamed the destruction of earlier ice moons for biblical events like the Great Flood. This idea was popular among certain Nazi elites, including Hitler and Himmler, who latched onto it as a Germanic alternative to conventional science, which they derided as Jewish or overly rational. Philosopher Houston Stewart Chamberlain and
SMH when the Jews want me to take an antibiotic. Mom! SMH when Jews tell me that I should drink less. It's all a Jewish conspiracy. It's just funny because that's how Kanye West became a right-winger. He was like, oh my God, I have a porn problem my entire life. I'm a sex addict. And then somebody came and told him, yo, it's actually the Jews that invented all that shit that made you a sex addict. So can you like hate Jews now? And he's like, man, that makes so much fucking sense. Fuck the Jews. Fuck the Jews for making me have sex with my cousin. Fuck the Jews for, is the Jews' fault that I'm a literal cuckold. Incredible behavior.
influential figure in early Nazi ideology, also championed this theory and made it the cosmological dogma during the Third Reich. The SS even funded research into WEL applications. Despite being framed as an Aryan concept, a few Jewish intellectuals supported the theory. Artifacts of power and concept a few WEL applications. Despite being framed as an Aryan concept, a few Jewish intellectuals supported the theory. Artifacts of power. The Nazis had a thing for mystical artifacts, believing they could both legitimize
And, okay, the Nazis did a lot of fucked up shit. But because they did this, we got some of the coolest Indiana Jones movies, okay? We got some of the absolute coolest Indiana Jones movies, which have very much defined a large part of my childhood. So I guess thank you, Nazis, for doing this very stupid shit, like looking for cups and stuff. Yo, who the hell came up with this shit? Yakub on a bad shroom trip? This is all fucking, 20th century fascist racialized ideology. That's why I'm so fascinated with it. I probably read more about this shit than I did about anything else. It's incredibly disgusting, but through that disgust, so unhinged that it is very, very, very fascinating. Just as fighting ads to the last man, woman, and child soldier is an important goal to have in life. By joining for $6 a month for free through Prime and elevating yourself to the status of child soldier, or by gifting and oiling me up and creating new child soldiers, you will join these very ranks. And one day we shall see the sun rise over an Atlas YugopnikTwitch. That day is close, brothers, sisters, and NBs. That day is now. Thank you very much for considering subscribing and avoiding the pesky ads. Thank you very, very much, Gum.
It's their rule, and
for every 10 gift subs, I give another 5, as always. Only place on Twitch where we give back. Not just in words, but in financial stimulus.
harness mystical powers. Two big obsessions were the Spear of Destiny and the Holy Grail, which became central to the occult-fueled ideologies. The Spear of Destiny, supposedly the spear that pierced Christ's side, was wrapped in legend as the key to controlling the world's fate. Figures like Constantine and Charlemagne were said to have wielded it, and Hitler was captivated by its supposed power. After invading Austria in 1938, Hitler seized the spear from Vienna's Hofburg Museum. Himmler even kept a replica for himself in his private room. The original was later buried under Nuremberg Fortress, found just as Hitler met his end. The Holy Grail obsession was equally dramatic. This legendary cup supposedly used by Jesus at the Last Supper and later...
If you want to know more about this, you can watch the very, very real documentary. It's called Indiana Jones, okay? They're very real. Trust me, bro.
...by Joseph of Arimathea to catch Christ's blood became a focal point for Nazi occultism thanks to German writer Otto Rahn. Rahn's books linked the Grail to Germanic paganism, the Templars and the Cathars, framing it as a lost Aryan treasure suppressed by Christianity. Himmler, inspired by this vision...
And of course it's an Aryan treasure, but wait, didn't you guys say that Christianity suppressed Aryan culture and that Jesus and that whole thing is a myth, but at the same time you want to find stuff that Jesus interacted with because that makes them holy and incredibly powerful. But also Christianity, you know, was just a Jewish ploy, but also like everything that Jesus touched is also extremely powerful. We are Nazis. We are very smart. Our worldviews make a lot of sense, right? So on one hand, Christianity created by Jews in order to undermine true Aryan culture. On the other hand,
subscriber.
Jesus that Christianity is based upon actually existed and had like borderline alien superpowers, and everything that he interacted with now is imbued with that same power. Make it make sense. Like even in their like they can't even develop proper D&D lore because, as we all know, Nazis are fucking stupid. Cigar full of dynamite. I wasn't prepared today for esoteric nationalism. Well, welcome, my dear friend, and thank you for the 7 months.
Vision saw himself as a modern-day knight and funded Rahn's fruitless Grail searches. While no magical cup was ever found,
we was knights and shit.
Quest solidified the Grail's place in Nazi mysticism. Ley lines and sacred geography. The Nazis were obsessed with ley lines. Imaginary power lines that supposedly connected ancient...
Thank you, Joel! Very much.
...monuments like Stonehenge or the Pyramids of Giza. Like a mystical version of the Earth's grid, believed to carry some kind of energy that ancient civilizations knew about. German archaeologist Wilhelm Teut popularized the idea in Germany, calling them holy lines, and argued they had religious and astronomical importance. Himmler and the German research division Ahnenerbe took this to the next level, mapping out these so-called energy highways for Europe and linking them to Germanic sacred sites like the Externsteine, Wewelsburg Castle, and even the Kyffhäuser monument, which tied into Aryan and Teutonic legends. Himmler was convinced these locations held ancient Aryan spirit.
Thank you, Nureg, for using the tunnel electric systems created by the ancient Aryans to send $6 to your boy and subscribing for the 12th fucking month. I'm very glad you're here as well.
Spiritual power and could be harnessed to strengthen the SS and the Nazi regime. They even employed Ludwig Straniak, a pendulum dowser who used his gift to find mystical earth currents on maps.
Guy made money off of dumb Nazis. I love it.
Rituals and ceremonies were held at these sites in the hope of tapping into this supposed energy grid. Wotanism.
Guy saw just how unhinged the Nazis were, and he was like, guys, I have a stick that can help me find underground electrical tunnels that have been created by ancient humans from Thule, from, you know, the Antarctic. And the Nazis were like, give this man my fucking credit card right the fuck now.
The Nazis particularly...
Which tunnels are better, Kabas tunnels or Aryan tunnels? Maybe they're the same thing. And it is truly the battle between Aryans and fucking... God, I can't even say it. It's so anti-Semitic. The fuck. Not even as a joke. I'm not even going to say it as a joke because it is very anti-Semitic and obviously incorrect. Thank you, Terrible Clark. This essay has completely ruined the Hermetic Order in Civ 6 for me. It should. Thank you for 12 months.
Particularly within the SS and the Ahnenerbe organizations, sought to revive Germanic paganism as a replacement for Christianity, which they viewed as a foreign, weak religion that clashed with their vision.
I never read Hellboy, but I watched all the Hellboy movies. Yeah, I really fuck with the, you know, that aspect of it. And Wolfenstein as well. Like, Wolfenstein is so fucking good on this shit. Because you get to fight, like, ancient... like German zombies and stuff. It's very, very fun. I only ever watched through a playthrough of the Wolfenstein DLC. The Freedom Chronicles, no. The Deeds of Captain, no. Like, the one where you go... The Wolfenstein 2 DLC, where it's basically a throwback to when he fights whatever the fuck you call it. Wolfenstein New Order. Thank you, chatter. Not just a chatter, but the Malteser. Thank you very much. Yeah, so here it's a big like Wolfenstein throwback. You go through the castles, you fuck up big zombie guys like, you know, you fucking, where was it? I can't find it. It's very cool. It's very, very cool. Good gaming content, abso-fucking-lutely, baby.
Vision of Aryan strength and purity. This push for pagan revival wasn't universally embraced across the Nazi leadership, but
the Hellboy graphic novels are way better than the best Del Toro Hellboy. I'll check it out. Like, I'll unironically check it out. Ich bin ein hot dog. Klassiker.
Figures like Heinrich Himmler, again, were deeply invested in dismantling Christian tradition.
Communist lore. 5-hour essay on economic and nerd stuff. Nazi lore. The year is 7,867 BC. The Anunnaki astral projection mothership has landed in northern Finland. After lengthy negotiations with the Proto-Aztec Khaganate, they establish a Magitechnic beacon. One handle, bro. One handle. Yes, you're right on the nose. Somebody give my boy or girl or NB Raio Gelato. Somebody give my Italian friend a subscription right now for literally the best post of the day. That was the best post of the day.
And replacing them with a religion rooted in ancient Germanic mythology and Nazi ideology. Wotanism, a revival.
I love how I immediately thought they're Italian because they have gelato in the name. Thank you, Kachiro, for giving your Italian friend a little bit of a gift to sub.
Beliefs centered around the Germanic god Wotan.
I'm not ready for the return of the Finno-Korean Empire. Wu-Tang is for the children. That is an incredibly good joke. That is an incredibly good joke. That is actually a Wu-Tang Kiki. Watan Kiki. Oh, fucking chat never changed. I swear to God, I never changed.
Wonderful, a new child
Thank you,
soldier.
Joel, for another gifty. You've been so kind today. Oh, sons of my bitch!
Or Wodanas was at the heart of this effort. Himmler and others promoted Wotan as the archetypal Aryan leader, a god of war, wisdom and power. The Nazis sought,
bro, come on, of war, wisdom, and fucking power. And of course he's a German, bro.
To tie the German people to a mystic past of warrior tribes by incorporating pagan rituals into their ideology. Christian holidays were rebranded, with winter solstice replacing...
Why is he so stacked? Exactly. They make all their shit fucking OP, and yet they lose every single war. Germans, we are the God's chosen people. We are undefeatable. Proceeds to lose every war they ever fought. Since they were, the German Republic, not, the tribes or the Prussians and the Bavarians and so on. Since they became a nation state, proceeds to lose every war ever. But trust me, bro, we was shamans and shit. We was like Aryan tectonic kings, bro. We got like God on our side.
Christmas and Germanic naming ceremonies replacing baptisms. The SS even integrated runic symbols and Norse mythology into their rituals, from their uniforms to their ceremonies. Atheists weren't even allowed in the SS, while Hitler himself was more pragmatic.
But how does that make any sense? Why were atheists not allowed in the SS when you yourselves claim that Christianity was a Jewish ploy in order to undermine original German culture that has been connected to ancient, astral plane type shaman religion shit? And then you don't want, isn't it easier for you to create a new SS shaman out of an atheist than it is out of a believing Christian? Meth, that's the answer. That's the only answer. because all atheists were Jewish, the Jewish communists. None of it makes sense. It's all hog vibes. I know, but come on, like that. We're trying to do proper Nazi world building here. You know, I'm trying to find that at least in their unhinged like D&D lore building, there's some sort of rule that they were constant on, right? They didn't, even when you play D&D, it has set rules, right? And it's a fucking product. And these guys, an ideology that was supposed to motivate hundreds of millions and tens of millions of people to, go on eternal conquests and destroy the subhumans, doesn't even have consistency. Aryans were pure Yakubians living in the Thule that is nowadays Iceland. They escaped the captivity due to Ice Age. Now their genetic code makes us hate the cold and pursue capitalism as its shortest way for global warming. If the German was capable of being duped by the church, they could be duped by the party. If the Nazis tried to claim Siegfried, I will be so mad if that's the case. Definitely have. I don't have enough meth on hand to get into the Nazi mindset.
Again, hesitant about outright religious conflict, key figures like Himmler, Alfred Rosenberg, and Martin Bormann were openly hostile to Christianity. Their long-term goal was to erase it entirely and replace it with a blend of Germanic paganism and mythology.
But they also really wanted to find stuff that Jesus Christ touched at some point, like the Holy Grail or the, what do you call it, or the, spear that he was killed with. Like, come on, guys. Like, come on. You gotta, hit somebody up that made Star Wars or some shit to help you out in, streamlining this fucking racist stuff. Like, you gotta, it's gotta have some sort of consistency. Thank you, Xi Jinping, very much for the gift sub. Thank you very kindly.
The hollow Earth theory suggests that Earth is either entirely hollow or contains a large interior space. First proposed by Edmund Halley in the late 17th century, the concept gained more traction in 1818 when John Simmons Jr. proposed that Earth had a hollow shell about 1,300 kilometers thick with large polar openings and multiple inner shells. Simmons even advocated for an expedition to the North Pole to explore these openings.
But okay, is it a massive hole in the center of the world, or do we have connecting electric tunnels created by ancient Aryans that we could potentially tap? Like, it's either empty or we have electric tunnels. Now, I'm not saying that the hollow Earth theorists are the same as the tunnel people, but I'm pretty sure that this creator is in literally 1 minute going to talk about how Hitler and Himmler believed in this. Even though Hitler and Himmler also believed in the underground tunnels connecting all Aryan lands.
William Fairfield Warren later tied this theory to human origins, claiming that humanity originated from a lost Arctic continent called Hyperborea.
Hyperborea mentioned, my favorite fucking troglodytes.
Some early Hollow Earth supporters. The theory also connects with the real energy idea we already discussed and the myth of Agartha, a legendary underground kingdom.
Donut Earth. Come on, man. You had the... Oh, should I even say it? I'm not going to say it.
Connection between the Hollow Earth theory and Nazis surfaced post-World War II, fueled by speculative books like The Morning of the Magicians. Claims that some Nazis, including Himmler, believed in the Hollow Earth or that it housed advanced civilizations, especially Aryans,
Man, that's one horny fucking Earth. Jesus Christ. Earth kind of ran through, am I right, bro? Holy shit. That's one a Bella Danger looking ass Earth, bro. Oh my god. I had to say it. I'm sorry. I'm a misogynist pig. But it's just too good.
But there is no proof that they had this belief. The idea is often linked to myths about secret Nazi bases.
Fucking flashlight ass Earth.
Particularly in Antarctica. The SS ceremonies. Himmler crafted specific SS rituals as tools to reinforce a cult-like identity.
Bro, what do you mean you're in love with Earth, bro? Like,
SS recruits underwent
Earth Uzi. Nazis love the Earth Uzi. Oh, no kink shaming Earth. Come on, absolutely. I noticed a pattern with a cult of the archetype of a noble savage in Nazism. Absolutely. A complete obsession with life on one field and hunter-gatherer lifestyle is an example of the strange admiration Hitler had for the Native American lifestyle in European indigenous groups such as the Sami. Perhaps it's some kind of boomer midlife crisis fantasy of abandoning family and life in the city to life as a subsistence fisher in the boring sea or something like that. That and like... trying to bring humanity back to the original, truly natural way of living, which was, in their eyes, defined by the OG Aryans, which, you know, figured it all out, but also somehow fucked up because they spread their empire too far and started mixing with the subhumans a little bit too much. TLDR, return to whole. Do not kink shame the Earth Usi, bro. Okay, SS ceremonies. Oh, yeah.
Torchlit initiation rituals designed to sever ties with their past lives and bind.
Most SS shit, like generally like German aesthetic shit. I have a fucking video with 2 million views on this topic. It's just like, yo, bro, what would look the sickest, bro?
Them to the SS as a new family. Oaths of loyalty to Hitler were taken surrounded by Germanic runes. Himmler framed these ceremonies as a rebirth to connect with mythical Aryan ancestors. At the heart of this vision was Wewelsburg Castle near Paderborn, which Himmler reimagined as a Nazi Camelot, with its crypt.
Oh, fucking God.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Bruh, we was knights and shit. We got a fucking Nazi Camelot and shit. Oh my God. Oh, these guys managed to convince tens of millions of people to go and fucking die fighting and mass murdering other people that they thought were subhumans. I swear to God, fascism is the fucking most loser fucking ideology to ever exist.
Like,
and its Nazi variation kind of like peaks that shit, right?
Hall of the Dead at the center. This ceremonial room housed 12 plinths for urns of Himmler's inner circle, symbolizing a twisted Aryan Valhalla. The SS hierarchy.
He's like, bro, I'm gonna make a circular room and we're all gonna sit in that circular room and then like talk like ancient tectonic knights. It's gonna be so cool, guys. Trust me. Dude, we just wanna have some fucking beer and chill at the tavern. No, bro. You gotta come to my castle. We're gonna be like the knights of the round circle, but like racist and shit. Bro, I just want to do some fucking lines of meth and drink some fucking beer. No, you're coming here or I'm having you shot, okay? We are ancient tectonic knights, but can we do meth and get drunk afterwards? Of course, dude. What the fuck? Thank you, Comrade Margot. Is there anti-partisan activity happening here? I guess we are learning the true way of the world. Magic electricity pipelines inside of a hollow earth that connect Nordic Aryans. Nazism is what happens when you let hipster crystal astrology weirdos run a country. I literally said that 10 minutes ago. 100% agree, my friend.
He used the space for roundtable discussions inspired by Arthurian legends. Himmler's obsession with reviving authentic Germanic spirituality, how he called it.
Thank you again, Joel, for the beautiful gifty, my friend.
Extended to solstice festivals, where
we're so close to 1.6 thousand subscribers. It's gonna be so fucking nice to have 1.6 thousand child soldiers aiming their fucking guns at all ads, including the ad that might play in exactly 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So yes, I am encouraging you to elevate yourself into true child soldier status for $6 a month for free through Prime, or by gifting them to me, and for every 10 new child soldiers, I shall create another 5. We will be the true members of the anti-ad tectonic order, okay? If we ever hit 5K subs, I'm gonna make us a castle, guys. And we can, like, and me and all of chat can, like, sit in a circle and be like, guys, we're like knights and shit. We're like anti-capitalist knights and shit. Like, whoa. Let's go down into Earth OC. We're gonna sit in a circle and goon to Earth Usi, okay? That's the true Yugopnik ideology. Thank you, Joel, for another gift, you fucking legend. Let me count how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gift subs in a row. 7. We're 3 gift subs away from me donating another 5. Very nice, very good.
SS officers and their families lit bonfires to honor the sun's energy and Aryan fertility. These events included chants, hymns, and pagan rituals designed to replace...
Could I be in charge of the kitchen in the castle? I swear to God, I will be cooking all you motherfuckers delicious-ass meals. Of course, my friend. As long as they're not too heavy so that we can have our Earth Usi goon sessions. This is what these people actually believe. This incredible shit.
How he called it, extended to solstice festivals, where SS officers and their families lit bonfires to honor the sun's energy and Aryan fertility. These events included chants, hymns, and pagan rituals designed to replace Christian holidays with what Himmler considered a purer Aryan tradition. SS marriage and birth ceremonies abandoned Christian traditions, replacing them with pagan symbols and Aryan blessings. Weddings featured runes, the Black Sun or SS flags, while births were marked with rituals involving SS daggers as symbols of Aryan lineage. Moreover, in seance-like ancestor communion rituals, Himmler and others meditated in rune-filled candle-lit rooms, claiming to draw strength and guidance from mythical Germanic warriors. Astrology and divination. Under Himmler...
Man, I really want to be like the ancient shamans, guys. Thank you, good Lenin, for the gifty. What's up, Lenin?
Direction, the SS established dedicated units for supernatural intelligence gathering. The most notable one was the Pendulum Institute, where operators would...
Bro, the mooncock is what I'm talking about. Thank you, good Lenin, for another gift sub.
Swing pendulums over maps, claiming they could detect enemy ships, submarines, and troop movements through...
Oh my god. They have... Bro, they militarized the crystal mummies. Bro, I'm in the... Don't fuck with me, bro. I'm in the SS. Yeah, what division? The astrology division. I like... We take a crystal and we rub it over a map, and it tells us where the Allied troops are stationed. And then we call in the Luftwaffe to bomb that particular territory. You know, the allies start coming in, you're losing the war, and you know, you're being put against the wall, and you're like, no, bro, why are you shooting me? I was just fucking rubbing crystals together, bro.
Electromagnetic energy patterns. This practice was institutionalized enough to generate official military reports and
Oh, this is who fascists aspire to. Oh my god, it's real. I was joking, but no, they had astrology SS divisions that reported. Oh my god. Sir, but I can literally see Allied troops on this island. No, bomb the other island. My crystal rock has told me that that's where the main force is stationed.
Receive significant funding. Astrological operations were a little bit more complex. While Hitler himself was skeptical, other leaders like Rudolf Hess and Himmler embraced it. The Nazi
Himmler just embraced absolutely everything as long as it allows him to kill children.
Intelligence Service and the Ministry of Propaganda employed astrologers like Karl Ernst Kraft to analyze Allied leaders' horoscopes, particularly...
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Like Karl Ernst Kraft to analyze Allied leaders' horoscopes, particularly...
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Impressive.
Particularly Churchill's. Kraft also claimed to have predicted the 1939 assassination attempt on Hitler, earning him a brief role as an occult advisor. Joseph Goebbels took a pragmatic approach, using astrology as a propaganda tool for his ministry. He would distribute favorable astrological predictions in occupied territories while suppressing negative ones. They even created fake zodiac interpretations suggesting German victory was cosmically ordained. After Rudolf Hess flew to
turns out it wasn't.
Scotland in 1941 to talk peace, reportedly influenced by astrological advice, Hitler cracked down on public astrology.
He was like, it's more popular than me, okay? I am the people's astrology, bro. Ich bin die Astrologie des Volkes. Was ich sage, ist die astrologische Zukunft. Ja, ja. Wir werden alle arianische Astrologie unsere machen. Das Jude kann keine Astrologie haben. Ich habe alle ich bin die Astrologie. Mein Schwanz ist sehr nicht groß. Or whatever the fuck. We'll just do a little bit of German trolling, if you know what I mean. Okay. Speaking of unhinged shit, it makes no sense. Next, Influencers by Soggy Cereal. He's always a fun watch. Ich bin ein arianischer Krieger, Mom. Mom, I am an arianischer Krieger. This is anti-cracker racism.
Hey, my little cereal, today I am...
Oh my god, fucking jump scare. Jesus Christ, why are you in a bathtub? Oh my god. What will YouTubers do next in order to keep you in the first 15 seconds of the video? Holy shit.
I'm wearing my most unique outfit yet. Generic beige jacket and gray sweatpants. And you can get yours by the affiliate. Hey guys, welcome to my silly video with my silly outfit. Beige jacket and silly gray sweatpants. You can get them yourself by the affiliate links in the description. What's up, my dude? Go check them out. Today is a super quirky day because I've got my beige jacket and my unique gray sweatpants. And if you want to be unique like me, well, just go check out the affiliate links below and go order these right now. Is this a cult?
Yes. It is. Thank you, Finesse, for the 7 months. Hi, comrade. I just listened to Touch Grass while touching grass. Thank you for the episode. Hey, I'm really glad you were touching grass while listening to Touching Grass. You kind of broke the game, you know? You're not touching grass while touching grass, listening about how you should touch grass. It is quite impressive. It made a hole in the earth, and it also developed electricity lines inside of the hole that connects all Aryan peoples.
Is that... matcha?
No.
Oh my god, can you guys shut up already? I'm trying to make a video over here. Thank you. Hey my bowl of cereal, today I want to talk about a weird phenomenon I've noticed becoming increasingly prevalent over the past 10 years, and a few weeks ago I saw this viral Belgian Instagram post about it, which when translated to English says, beige latte frappuccino, are our personal styles becoming increasingly less unique because of influencers? Now I know that 15,000 likes doesn't scream viral, but this is Belgium. We have like a population of 5, and I'm one of them. So for us, this post was basically our viral chart.
He's from Belgium. Okay, no longer watching. Next video.
The XCX Brad Summer. And I don't think that we're the only country that it resonates so deeply with this post, because everywhere I look, it feels like everything is shrinking into the same bland template. And I don't mean that in the, oh, I'm just being nostalgic and feel like the world is getting more boring way. I mean that in the empirical research has found this to be objectively true kind of way. People now want to stand out more.
Yo, not the empirical research.
Or yet feel pressure to it.
Oh no, I'm gonna get empirical research. No, don't research me there. No.
Here to social norms and fit in as much.
I'm gonna research.
bitch.
Much as possible because of social media. Popular music is more narrow in style than ever before. Hobbies...
Yeah, because the market fucking standardizes, because that's how it can make more money out of you instead of, you know, by putting more money in marketing instead of actually developing a product, service, art form, etc., etc. It standardizes you and gives you more of the next chain restaurant, chain music band, chain clothing store.
These are being homogenized. Movies...
Individual artisans creating something unique? Oh, no. We gotta fucking standardize that shit. Standardize. Ta-dam, tam, ta-dam, tam.
And be enjoyed before first hearing a YouTuber's opinion on it. And there are now so many YouTube creators that some are working on similar topics simultaneously. So now you're being accused of stealing a topic even though you had already been working on it for weeks before the other creator published a slightly similar video. Damn you, Curtis. I was gonna pick that title for this video. But it's okay, cause your live show and merch are pretty cool. And more importantly, well, they're not beige. Because is it just me, or does literally everything today have to look like some variety of eggshell? I'm currently in the process.
You will take Gabriel. Belgium is a made-up country populated, inhabited by confused Frenchmen that have polished the cocks of Habsburg horses for 500 years before being elevated to sapiens by the EU. So they can stash their coke there.
Of moving into a new apartment and wanted some design ideas from Pinterest, a platform I hadn't visited in years, but remember always inspiring me with a...
Oh my god, I forgot Pinterest existed.
Variety of designs and colors back in the day. So cue my surprise when now, after like 5 minutes of scrolling on a new account, the only color they had shown me was beige. Thanks, Pinterest. You have somehow made me less creative. This fucking color is inescapable. Pantone's color of the year is Mocha Mousse, which is just a slightly browner tint of beige. And oh my god, is it the obsession of every modern lifestyle influencer. When you think you're very unique.
No fucking way, bro. Oh my god, come on. Though it is kind of toxic because they didn't say that they're unique, right? That there's nothing wrong with, you know, looking the way everybody around you looks like, okay? One could argue that if you're trying really hard to look different than anyone else, that's also very fucking cringe because you're not organically different. You're like actively working towards being different. But yeah.
Yeah, they're fighting the system with their unique rebellious colors. Rage against the machine, more like beige against the machine. Thank you. They're all wearing the same clothing, which is beige. They all have the same...
This is the guy with a mask. My mask is fully utilitarian, my friend.
Interior designs, which are beige.
I smell pumpkin spice latte energy in the air.
All have the same hobbies, which is drinking matcha and doing Pilates in their sweatpants, which happens to be beige. At this point, I thought instead of there being thousands of different lifestyle influencers out there, they're like 2. But with thousands of different accounts because they're also indistinguishable from one another. Which, contrary to popular belief, wasn't always the case. Back in 2016, the most generic influencers you had were Lele Pons falling down. Or you had Hannah Stalking falling down.
And dude, like, some of you are too young to understand that watching something... Does this even exist? Still. It still exists and it still has millions of views. Are you fucking serious? Okay, what would I'm grabbing a few snacks. I'm grabbing a few snacks and a beer and I'm just going to play something on YouTube. In 2017, 18, it was just watching this.
It got so quiet in here. How did I...
Okay, and you could just sit there for like 3 hours, kill 3 hours just watching this, and it was absolutely fucking hilarious. It was absolutely fucking hilarious. It's no longer. I don't know why, because our brains are now used to, it needs to be an AI-generated crocodile bomber guy with Italian AI tunes playing over it. Crocodilo bombardino, right? And for us to find it funny. So I'm not saying it was better back in the day. I was just saying it was a simpler time. I'm old enough to remember that I say I am a fail army veteran. Please play Lenito Bananito.
Tovarci Bananisci, udite il richiamo. Lenino Bananito guida il Soviet Fruttamo.
There you go. So you...
And you also had Amanda Kearney falling down. Okay, maybe popular lifestyle influencers have always been kind of similar, but at least back then, they were falling down.
And there wasn't as many of them as well.
And they did have their own distinct personalities. Amanda was a relationship comedy girl next door. Hannah was the more intelligent but socially awkward one. And Lele, well, she was dumb as a rock and fell over things. I mean, the only thing they had in common in my eyes was that I found neither of them funny. But seeing how boring influencers are today, I'd never expect I'd say this, but nope. Can we bring back 2016?
Like, I agree, unironically. Like, it was so fucking cringe back then, but somehow we managed to move the overtone window of cringe even further right.
Lele Pons? Because now everyone wants to be followed by everyone, even more so than back then, meaning that they're...
Very good point, though. Very good. Because a lot of those influencers back in the day started relatively organically, and then they were fostering their own type of community. People are similar to them, people with a similar kind of sense of humor, life direction, blah, blah, blah. But now, influencers don't start posting because they find something cool and then they're posting, and then people that like the same shit post with them or like their shit, watch their shit, etc., etc. Now it's literally like before you even post, you need to plan out who this is for. You need to make yourself as fucking easy to hook up with brands as possible. You gotta... Influencers no longer organically spawn. They are, branded and designed from the get-go. It's even more of a product than it was before. Not saying that it wasn't a product before, but now it's just a product.
It cannot be a niche, specific character trait, or personal belief present, because once there is, well, then you shrink the potential audience you could...
Cringe keeps evolving backwards, literally. We are de-cringifying certain things.
Relate to. For example, if I show this on my screen real quick, well, some viewers might get really scared, poop their pants, and then never want to watch my videos ever again because they might oppose the belief that guy can kiss guy, thus decreasing my potential follower count. Which is why so many influencers now showcase about as much personality as a wet cardboard box. And brands love that, because when everyone has a wide-ranging audience without niche, well, then they can't only spread their products to more people, but also streamline their ad campaigns by having every cardboard box promoted in the exact same manner to their usually overlapping followers, making it a way more effective ad campaign through repetition. Then, for example, when some commentary YouTuber packages their sponsor read in a more personal style. Like in this video, because this video is sponsored by Raycon. Are you a little dumbass just like me?
Every time something is sponsored by Raycon, I get like a mini heart attack thinking it's Raytheon.
No. You sure about...
Ethical Reacts, I guess, headphones are very good. If you like headphones, use his link. They're headphones and they're like good and stuff. And they're headphones.
When you're balding. They come at an affordable price, plus a 30-day happiness guarantee return policy, no questions asked.
It will literally make you happy.
So if you're interested, go check them out via the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/soggy15 for 15% off site-wide. Thank you Raycon for sponsoring this video, and
or don't buy headphones, instead buy a subscription for YugopnikTwitch and avoid the ad that's going to play in exactly 4 minutes and 20 seconds, or gift a sub, and for every 10 gift subs I will donate another 5 gift subs. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for...
Was that the fastest ad plug to ever ad plug? Yes, it was.
Clicking my links, which I'll see as your Father Day's presents to me, because it helps me out a ton. And now let's get back to the video, son. Or dog.
2,000 years later.
I love all my children equally, as long as you never buy any toys with vibrant colors that don't fit with my interior design I copied from my favorite influencer. Yeah, I'm a sad beige mom. Is your
A sad beige mom. That's such a mood.
darling toddler enjoying their brand new colorful slide? Fuck that! They better enjoy it in silence, for my eyes.
Wait, no, wait. Did she paint all her children's toys in one color so that... Oh, God. I mean... I don't know. I don't want to hate for the sake of hating, because it definitely looks better than like a super multicolor fucking room. But from one side, and on the other side, that room is not for you. It's for your kids. It's for the kids. That room is not. You're not supposed to aestheticize it based on what you like. You're supposed to let the kid aestheticize it. That's the point. That's why they have their own room. It's not your room. It's the kids' room. Let them be kids. Why are we also dressing all kids like adults now? What the fuck? Like can't like a kid be wearing like a fucking kid shit, like with bears on it and fucking dragons and fucking little kitty cats and stuff. Like why is every baby I see on the street looking like a mini boss baby? Like it's gonna go clock in its fucking job at Google HQ any fucking moment.
Oh, introducing Christmas spirit to your child. How about introducing the boring, depressing state of adulthood? Maybe teach them how to pay taxes while you're at it. Sad beige moms are what you could call one of many types of collateral
Yeah, but no, this is fucking insane. Like, what the fucking shit, bro? Come on, brah.
damage caused by a modern day homogenized
Oh, bro, brate, jebote, what the...
lifestyle influencers, occurring when people have been so influenced by what they see online.
CIA here. Congratulations on Operation Squealing Eagle. The last time you boys met up. Also, the Raytheon knife missile you requested is in the mail. 3 to 5 working days. You sure that's what you want to be paid in? Yes, I want rockets.
That they now can't even have their child's toy be a color that isn't on the world's most boring billboards. Which is harmful, by the way, and a big reason I wanted to make this video, because contrary to what you might think, after I just ranted about one single color for 5 minutes straight, I actually don't have a furious
My honest reaction.
X, Y, and Z. Are the other letters of the alphabet involved here? Sure, all 486 of them. Thanks.
Jesus, and that was such a boomer reference. I loved it.
Hate for the color beige? Shh, don't cry. I don't hate you. I do, however, have a furious hate for the fact that this might limit their children's creativity, imagination, and cognitive growth. Cause now I'm scared that the next
SpongeBob predicted this, except it's beige instead of chrome.
generation might turn out so bland and superficial, they'll all become Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Obviously, you'd think I'd be joking when I'm saying the next generation might be a collective of materialistic human husks who all experience mental orgasms at just the side of a well-printed business card.
Something wrong?
But it's already happening to current generations. Because more and more influencers now seem to be prioritizing making identityless, materialistic, and consumptive
Patrick Baby Man, come on, you fucked up. Patrick Bait Baby. Because the man port, you're supposed to switch into baby. Not Patrick Baby Man. Patrick Bait Baby.
content to increase their own status, well, research does indicate that society is generally starting to adapt these same traits. Many people have this pre-notion that to be an influencer is to be unique, since that's kind of how influencers first became popular a decade ago. And I think that to dress and act like your favorite influencer is to be an extension of that uniqueness. Even though most of the time the exact opposite is true, with modern day influencers often pushing the most generic trends out there. There's a reason that overconsumption has become an even bigger trend now than last time I talked about it, or why people are statistically choosing between a smaller palette of hobbies while also getting less satisfaction out of them. Which, oh my god, can we all agree that it's pretty impressive how influencers and social media have sucked the fun out of hobbies. For some reason, the only variety of hobbies I get in my feed when not having it tailor-made to my interests is Pilates, yoga, and crocheting. Guess I'm...
And not just that, like, I don't know if you have it, chat. I now, because I'm unking hard, no longer have it, which is ironic because, you know, I basically stream my life. When you're doing something just for yourself, like chilling and, you know, playing with your favorite hobby or reading your favorite book or like watching your favorite movie or doing whatever, you know, cycling, hiking, anything that you might like, there is a slow creeping dread at the back of your head telling you that this is not really happening unless you post about it. The dreadful need to post about what you're doing. This is very strange, very inhuman, I feel like. Very, as you kids would say, problematic. But right? We no longer like have our own space. Everything has to be, shared with everyone else online so that everyone else taps us on the back and says, oh my God, you're so cool, you're so active, you're doing so much. The burden of being a poster, exactly.
I'm giving off that arthritis granny core energy. If I didn't know any better, I might have believed that these were the only 3 hobbies out there. But even when ignoring the narrow range of influencer-pushed hobbies, starting with any hobby these days is such a worse experience compared to a decade.
If the internet didn't see it happen, did it really happen? Yeah, if you haven't posted about it, did you really do it? It's a very weird kind of, I mean, it's addiction. That's as simple as that. It's just addiction, my guy. Like, that's addiction.
Decade ago. It was because so many influencers keep pushing the idea that everything now needs to be a money-making side hustle, quickly turning your hobby into a stressful job you now have to add to your tax filings. Or because when you do have a newly found hobby, the algorithm...
You're here, you named that because you like yoga. Yes, so we're big yoga people here. We can't, yeah. No, yoga, not Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Yoga. We underpin our worldview on the holistic self-exploration through the chakras that once fully understood can inform you on what we call the holy class consciousness, which then leads us into other fields of analysis.
Now wants to make that new hobby your entire personality. For example, during my childhood and teenage years, I'd often skateboard. Now, back then, a hobby like that included a little bit of research, so you'd buy a decent board, and I could start skating. Due to about a year ago, when I wanted to pick skateboarding back up in a desperate attempt at finding something to do outside of studying for my second bachelor's degree, I had not performed a single Google search, or my algorithm was already committing a psychological warfare on my brain, the kind of which the CIA could have only dreamt of. Hours upon hours of endless review videos on every single part that made up a skateboard, with affiliate links of course, decks, wheels, drugs, bearings.
Like they realize that they can do SEO, but through actual influencers.
Bushings.
Which, you know, SEO is to make your website, you know, pop up on the fucking browser by making articles that are supposedly just broadly informing you on a particular topic, but are usually leading you towards buying the product that they're offering, right? They want to be high in the Google search, so you click thinking that you're going to get informed, but you're actually getting informed plus ad, right? But they realize, we can do that literally through influencers, and it's much easier. We just give them money. And then you have guys in particular niches, guys that talk about skateboards, for example, getting paid by particular skateboard companies to sell their particular skateboards. But obviously, the influencer very often does not tell you that directly. He just is reviewing skateboards, and somehow in the top 3 or even number 1, you have the one coming from his sponsor.
Apparently have nothing to do with the ex-US president and are just these little rubbers in your trucks. Now, this was already making this hobby I wanted to reintroduce myself with feel like homework, the thing I was so desperately trying to get away from. I was being bombarded with every skateboard influencer out there. Instagram reels, TikToks.
Wait, so bro, do you think the children being less exposed to colors would possibly end up making them some kind of colorblind? No, my friend. It just, you know, it would teach them that this particular type of color palette is the only acceptable one. If it's taken to extremes, like if the only thing you've ever seen is beige up until the age of fucking 4, you will truly believe that peak aesthetics is beige. Which I'm not saying that it's not. I'm not saying that it is. I'm saying that the kid should be given access to multiple opinions so that they, you know, choose what they like.
YouTube shorts, all of professional influencers doing these crazy tricks I wouldn't have been able.
Colors are in large part psychological, so yes, it actually can if taken to extremes. It's wild
to imagine. So finally having bought one for way more money I initially planned, because obviously I had to get all the best parts the professionals used, even though I hadn't even touched a skateboard in years. And then after a few days of struggling with barely any improvement, which is completely normal in skateboarding by the way, I gave up. Because with a brain so fried by constantly being exposed to these professional skateboarders, well, I didn't have the patience of not being one. All while the algorithm was laughing in my face because it got me. It tricked me. After weeks of stripping me from my own personality to push one on me, that of being a pro skater, it finally got me to spend as much money as possible. And I've got this $200 piece of wood-catching dust in my room. And this cycle is something I've heard several friends experience with very
herder something market economics, herder something taking true human passions and loves and turning them into yet another cycle of consumer habits. Advertising something, informing you on what you actually want without you organically figuring out what you want. Something, demand is actually generated by corporations that create supply, not the other way around in modern market economics when it comes to most commodities. Something, long-bearded guy from the 18th century, something.
Various hobbies. Or maybe I can use it in the Pilates classes that influencers are so desperately trying to get me engaged in. Oh man, luckily
you should have multiple times. It's going to be an ad, and then now this is going to be an ad. The circle finishes. The circle finishes. A video making fun of how everything is basically an ad, and you know influencers are making us very vanilla, is going to end on an ad. The capitalism is won. There is no escape. We are done.
I've got some new music to soothe the pain. Wait, this sounds like the last 5 new songs that released. Am I going in?
I'm sorry, but I don't know what the herder thing is about. Doesn't it? But I say it so often, I thought everybody knew. Herder is like... herder. It's like... I don't know, it's old as shit. Do you have it's this, I think. Herder, often said before what the speaker is mocking, such as an idea or a way of thinking that another person has. Alternative spoken usage in upper middle west of the continent. Okay, no, but yeah, it's pretty much this. Though I don't use it when I mock. I'm using it to say that like TLDR. I use it instead of TLDR. But I know why it associates it to this. Herder. The story of herder.com. What? Oh, it's an actual... It's a virus? It's a computer virus. Interesting. I know, I'm sorry, bro, but I didn't want to sound uncool, bro. I want to be hip like the young kids, bro. No, herder is very old, bro, but still, thank you, bro. Warframe slander. It's like saying blah, blah, blah. Yeah, herder.
Insane? No, see, several...
Bullshit, I thought I was being hip with herder. Turns out herder is ancient.
Studies have shown that modern-day popular music from every genre on every platform is sounding increasingly repetitive. And while many listeners have already pointed this out with pop music, a craving for more variety in that genre, this homogenization is also happening with rap, EDM, even with genres traditionally associated with complexity, such as jazz and classical music. Just as with influencers, this is what happens when you take away any human involvement from the promotion of creative endeavors and instead entrust it to completely AI-driven algorithms who are created to care only for optimization, making everything as generic and popular as possible, often at the expense of artistic diversity and innovation, while also tricking users to believe it's what they push that could make them unique and stand out. Even though, in my opinion, what really gives one personality today is not the uniqueness of your traits, it's the genuine authenticity with which you have chosen said traits. If you genuinely love beige, then go all out, baby! What really matters is that you end up doing what you sincerely want to do, which I guess gives more reason to why lately so many people are choosing to spend less time on the internet and exploring their lives without constant outside triggers and input.
Exactly, like the second I started really loving my life, obviously thanks by and large to you, chat, and the different communities I have here and on the program and the OG channel, and first thought and shit is like when I started loving life, I literally stopped posting. Like I stopped posting stories, which is problematic in my profession because I should post more on Instagram and shit because I don't fucking know. That's apparently what I'm supposed to do. But like the happier you are with your life, the less you wanna like fucking post about it all the time. That was my case. I'm not saying that's the case for you, but that was my case. The second I was like very chill and okay with how everything is going, you know, thank God, thank chat. I just stopped posting Instagram stories, for example. And I remember when I was really like down, when, you know, life made no fucking sense, I felt the constant need to LARP in front of other people that my life is going great. And that's when I would spam Instagram stories.
This video kind of felt like a much needed follow-up to my previous video where I talked about how the internet seems to be nothing more than a platform trying to now make people angry and frustrated for money, which if you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing just how far that rabbit hole goes, then, well, what are you still doing here? You should—
I'm 34.
34? Okay, what do you do?
I am a risk taker.
I don't know. I saw the editing style of this video and I was just like, I have to click on this. It's called The Art of Unemployment.
Roadrunner.
Unemployment. Which I guess that's what I am. I am the art of unemployment. I am unemployment itself, okay?
Rum diddly dum dum, rum diddly dum dum, rum diddly dum dum dum. Rum diddly dum dum, rum diddly dum dum.
It's no longer just about not having a job. It's a way of living. Maximizing on
brother.
productivity and
do nothing win.
Really just enjoying life.
China, the world's greatest unemployed country.
We live in a generation where unemployment is really the final goal. Okay, nobody wants to work a 9 to 5 no more. Which, you know, will probably have some repercussions in the future. Because what happens if you need to go get your car fixed and the best you're gonna get is a sports bettor or a damn Twitch streamer? Personally, I'm escaping the matrix, day trading, crypto, fucking NFTs, all of that. But with the amount of gambling videos I've seen, I've got genuine worry for this generation, bro. The sheer amount of debt that
I'm Hitler's top guy.
That's gonna be built up just because of this image.
I love this fucking video.
I'll see y'all at the annual Squid Games, bro.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Okay, now I mentioned being unemployed is going beyond the job status. Because I think it's more about how you spend those jobless hours. Because you could be unemployed and, you know, still be locked in, day trading, crypto, all of that. Or you could be playing around with Saratoga bottles and damn bananas because you saw a funny internet meme. Now, before you think I'm judging you, which I am.
Man, I love this fucking style.
You get corny, my boy. You're lame.
I gotta admit that we all be demonstrating unemployed behavior. I mean, you might be a little too tapped in with the John Pork and Tim Cheese law, or really any other niche.
Fuck you, that really made me think, oh fucking shit, because that popped up on screen, a phone call, and I was like, fuck, I just completely revealed who I am. I thought I was getting a phone call in 4K in front of chat.
Internet meme.
Tung 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 sahur.
And we call this kind of behavior being unemployed because they just have way too much free time. And all this time they spend gallivanting around, you have to think they surely have some time to make some money. But who am I to judge you? Go enjoy your life. There's always time to escape the Matrix later. But you should know better than anyone if you're just out here devouring your minutes. For example, if you're finding time in your day to prepare and eat coleslaw.
Well, you gotta call out my girlfriend like that.
We need a couple of y'all to start taking one for the team. We can't all be Twitch streamers and barbers, okay?
That's why you gotta subscribe for $6 a month for free through Prime in order to make my dream continue. Jesus Christ, it's so fucked. Oh, I love it.
Hey, someone has to work them oil rigs. And what's 3 barbers on each street gonna do for me, okay? I need a house to be built, not a look. But maybe we'd have more employed people if the process of getting a job wasn't such a damn grueling process. I'm gonna show you some shit that might be a jump scare for some of y'all. You ready?
He's gonna show a CV, isn't he?
Ooh, job application.
Ah, job application, close enough.
The whole process of getting a job, you gotta make some fuck-ass resume. And if you don't have any experience, that shit's just gonna look like this. And can someone tell me why entry-level
skills I can make it happen
jobs be asking for experience?
Dude, you are the experience.
The damn job paradox. How am I meant to get experience if I need experience to get experience? And after making your resume, you have to go on like Indeed or something and just look for a job that doesn't look like modern day slavery.
I'm unemployed right now.
Indeed, no, fucking LinkedIn, fucking shoot me. There's a guy that made a funny video about how LinkedIn is very bad.
But I'm better work at this job, this factory down the street, $6 an hour, full time.
And after shooting like 400 applications, you settle for one interview, you got a McDonald's. And now the interview has to be the worst part, because you gotta pull up in a suit and tie to an O-block McDonald's. And you gotta act like a stand-up guy and try not to say some dumb shit.
I just graduated from home last year ago. My degree in walking fish with a minor in water in the snow because I'm mop air. I'm also
fucking, oh god.
So a dentist that fixes feet at the vet when I'm wide asleep. So I think this job would be pretty good for my mom since she doesn't have kids.
And what I hate about interviews, bro, is that dumbass question they always be asking.
Why do you want to work here?
Yeah, because it's always been my lifelong dream to work in your rundown.
This video is proof that the kids will be alright, and they are waking up to the eternal myth that boomers and unks and Xers and millennials had to an extent started questioning, but were still lying under like a rabbit about to be ran over by a truck, and that is that it's all a con. It's all a fucking con, and you're being conned in your 9 to 5, in your social media job, in your everything. You are being conned. Get out of the system. Be unemployed. Which you can't because you will die. But that's exactly the point. You will realize that, then that will further radicalize you. And I'm saying that the kids are smart. They are organic communists. That's what I'm saying.
On McDonald's, nigga. No.
I can't eat. I'm broke, nigga. I'm broke.
Okay, I just seen some shit, and it looks like it's not that hard to get a job anymore. Now hiring someone that doesn't goon during work hours. Who the fuck did they have hired before this?
It goes to the goon! It goes to the goon! Look at the car.
But if you have to or want to go through that whole process, yeah, good
well, shit, chat. We ain't getting that job, are we?
luck, gang. But one thing I want to say is please, and I really stress, please don't be that nigga that thinks having a job makes them better or something. Bro, these archetypes who constantly complain about their job.
Bro, I can't go hang out, bro, because I'm too busy, bro. I'm too busy at work, bro. That's not a flex, bro. Bro, that is not a flex, okay? You are your boss's bitch, okay? Okay? And that's okay. We're all our boss's bitch. But you are bragging about being your boss's bitch. So please stop bragging about being somebody's bitch. Okay, thank you.
Jobs. Yeah, be the first ones.
It's not a flex, bro. That you have no free time and you are spending your life in an office. Not a flex, bro.
To tell you to go get a job when you're demonstrating some unemployed behavior. You hating on happiness, bro. You hating ass niggas look like Squidward. You see, I've worked 2 jobs in my life. The first one, I worked as an underwater ceramics technician. And the way I still have literal nightmares about that job.
Same! Same. Fucking bottom tier shit, bro. Washing fucking dishes for fucking 8 hours literally broke my fucking brain. It unironically made me into a communist. I'm not even joking. I went to the States and I washed fucking dishes and I literally became a commie. I was like, there ain't no fucking way that we don't automize this shit, but also make sure that, you know, people don't lose their jobs, but instead he had to live like whatever way the fuck they want, okay? Ain't no society I want to live in that is a society where motherfuckers gotta wash fucking dishes in fucking restaurants, okay? God fucking damn it, bro. That's why you need to subscribe and avoid the ad that is going to play in exactly 40 seconds. Make me stay away from dishwashing. Become a child soldier and stuff.
I want reparations for each of those shifts I worked.
Same, absolutely.
All of the stress that is
I've been colonialized and imperialized and placed in the dishwashing facility, and I have washed so many fucking dishes that I still do not feel the warmth of my you-know-what when I grab it with my hands, because these hands feel almost nothing except the cold, cold touch of the chemically induced cleaning detergents.
Accumulated. Years, I'm telling you, years have been taken off my life from those dreams. I don't work there anymore, and I still dream about it.
What more do you want from me?
And in the periods that I've been unemployed, I just feel like I took advantage of it. You gotta cherish every single one of those moments, man, because I promise you, sooner or later, we'll all be gone. Just knowing you have to get up for a shift or you have a shift later in the day, it can kill the vibe of the whole day, I promise you. You can just be chilling, and the realization hits. But you know, somebody telling you to get a job.
So you attack me personally? No, it's like in the choice between worker and unemployed. The unemployed is better. Unemployed is still cringe, but much better, less cringe.
They might just be looking out for you. Okay, don't start sending images like this, bro. You just lazy. And to all the unemployed out there, is the Minecraft movie really that funny? Yeah, he said chicken jockey in a funny way, but does it ever warrant this reaction?
Oh, come on! At this point, now you're just calling them out for no fucking reason.
Gangy, is that a live chicken? Man, we were supposed to have flying cars by now. The unemployed have just had a field day with this.
I didn't even press a button for that, though. Oh my god, yeah, that was in the video. This is the best editing I've seen in my life. I'm not even joking. This is the best editing I've ever seen in my life.
Damn movie, bro. And not to be the fun police or nothing, but imagine working at one of these cinemas and having to clean this shit up. Yo, we gotta look out for all of the people that are stuck in,
of course, the
infinite job cycle. I promise you they don't wish for that life. So don't be the guy
you work with me, not for me,
that chucks 3 buckets of popcorn and mysterious liquids all over the floor. Just for, you know, a little giggle. We gotta look out for each other, man. The employed gotta look after the unemployed gotta look after the employed. If we fail to do this, society will collapse as we know it. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna sit there as you watch society fall? No, you're gonna get up, you're gonna stand up, and you're gonna fight for what you believe in. But do you really get what I'm trying to say, though? We need the employed, but I don't want to be employed, so I'm gonna make it easier for them. The minority you just paid to deliver pizza to your address during a hurricane, tip them a little bit. Instead of telling the person that's making your food to just put the fries in the bag, how about you give him some nice words? The employed and the unemployed, united. But it's time to admit it, being unemployed is not...
The lumpen and the proletariat shall one day, hand in hand, goose step towards their internal and external class enemy. This video is truly beautiful. Beautiful class conscious propaganda.
Oh, sunshine and rainbows. Yes, I don't have the responsibility of a job, but... I am so lonely.
Welcome, fellow unemployed Twitch watchers from Argonian Bum. I hope you had a lovely stream, Argonian. I hope you had a lovely stream. Welcome. We're watching shit posts that are actually surprisingly very eloquent and chill. Everybody go check out Argonian right now. Give them a follow.
Me aside, don't trick yourself into believing you're not a fucking loser, okay? Because Googling top 5 side hustles to get rich quick is not being locked in. You know what? Let me stop being a hater. Because look, what you're doing is really smart, but it's also really dangerous because you're convincing yourself that you're not a loser, when in reality, yeah, you are.
Preach, brother.
Real quick.
This Twitch count is employed and might fall into unemployed on Twitch category too. I don't think it counts as employed. We're unemployed, bro.
Let me bring back this guy from the intro.
I am a risk taker.
You mean you're a risk taker? You lose $50 a week off parlays. Let's...
Oh my god. I want to be friends with whoever the fucking maker of this video is. This shit's so fucking funny.
Keep it a buck. But there's really two types of unemployed people. The ones that gaslight them.
Keep it a buck. Tring! And then that shot. No, this man is this is a fucking artist. This channel is supremely under fucking valued. This shit is incredible.
Themselves into believing they're onto something.
I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay. Do you have any businesses we could be on the lookout for?
No, just not right now.
Oh my god, I fucking live for this.
And two, the ones that are so far gone, they just fully
What is your identity? My identity is capitalist. But you don't actually have any capital, my bro.
embrace it and are damn near prideful about it. Okay, let me elaborate. The first type will have some philosophical reason for not wanting a job. Like they'll say, how are you gonna let someone define how much my hour is worth? Just say you lazy, bro. Here are some quick signs that you're this person. One,
okay, that was a direct jab at all us commies. Wow.
If you ever refer to the government as Big Brother. 2, if you sign up to online courses instead of getting a job. And 3, if the word matrix just unironically comes out of your mouth. But hey, maybe you got something going on that my mind-controlled slave brain just can't comprehend. Okay, and for the second one, these people are just too far gone. Employment is nothing more than a nightmare to these people. The word job gives them physical pain. You tell these people to get a job and they'll have a visceral reaction. Peep the vocab. The only jobs these people want to be associated with involve feet. I gotta apologize to these people though for not censoring the word work and job. I know this is considered a slur for you guys, so my deepest apologies.
This video is art.
Oh yeah, and yes, we're gonna ignore my month disappearance. Will it happen again? Most likely. But community Discord server, go talk to me. I'll be active on there.
Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. And speaking of jobs, I might not have a single job, but instead I have multiple jobs. I have left the corporate world in order to do 5 fucking things in a row, which is Twitch and also the D-Program, where I'm going to now vacate the premises directing at the D-Program and record an episode so that you have more slop, more content, more radicalizing shit, more intellectual shit, more like, oh my god, I'm so fucking smart. I got that like consciousness and stuff. So JT is waiting for me all lubed up and in a fucking kitty costume. I will send pics to all the subscribers. Thank you to all the subscribers. I wait very, very lubed up JT in cat costume stuff. Thank you to all the fucking Oilers. Seriously, motherfuckers. Without you guys, none of this would be possible. Thank you to all the subscribers. Without you, none of this would be possible. Thank you to everybody who followed. If you're here and you haven't clicked the button, you're fucking weird. Just click the button, bro. The fuck? Why you're weird? Thank you. There you go. SB listens. Fucking SB, you're not weird. Check out the socials. Join the Discords. Do all that shit. I will see you tomorrow on the same spot. Might game. We might not. We'll see. But I'll definitely see you tomorrow. Arigasakute, that was probably racist. That meant nothing in Japanese. Go and who should I raid? Who should I raid? Who should I raid? Who should I raid? I shall raid who haven't I raided in a long time that has raided me. Rob. Go see Rob, my fucking boy Rob. Go and say hi to Rob. Raid Rob Rousseau. Rob is a beautiful man with glasses and a big, big brain. And a lovely quokka. So yeah. Go, hang out. Thank you very, 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 very much. Wait, what the fuck? No, what hype train? No, let me raid. I don't have hype. This. Okay, now raid. It's not letting me raid in 5 seconds. Okay. Gee, why is everything so complicated on Twitch? I'll raid Celtic in the future. I already clicked this thing. Shrimp or cockroaches.